to get out of shit. You could argue somehow, some way, archetypally through nature, they're meant to get taken the fuck up out of here. And if some people don't do it, the force of creation that they call God in the scripture is going to do it. Just like it would to its own children that were weak and ignorant and arrogant. I bring you up in here, I'll take you the fuck out. Because you don't want to adhere to what's true and what's right, and you want to play games and think there's no consequences. Can't call it God the Father and the archetypal in the universe and see the patterns throughout history and civilizations and not recognize what's being talked about there, right? And you can't necessarily make every individual who goes in that mode out to be insecure and fearful. If they are insecure and fearful, it might be for good reason. You guys are an inauthentic corporate beta threat to the race in your cowardice and arrogance. You could argue that primal beingness is what kept order at one point. If a motherfucker was caught lying and playing games with themselves and others and undoing this tribe, they got to go. Either they're going to get whacked out or they're going to get thrown the fuck out. And you can go live on an island and figure out how you're going to get products and services and commune.
Hey, Paul, didn't your God instruct us to pay taxes? God also said he put all governments in place and we should love our government like we love God.
I get that. I know, I like when you do the thing and then we get to do the simulation. But, the reality of it is you can't prove that. No one can prove anything, and my sensibility is good enough.
Do you not know that your government works for the rich?
Paul's God is the one who gave us this horrible place and allows
the government, just like anyone or anything in life, works for who commands the respect and the authority. So if you motherfuckers stood up and commanded respect in your life,
God,
okay, I wasn't saying none. I'm not interested in the word of God in a book from other men and remixes.
Yeah.
You act like you haven't watched me on camera half a dozen times get policy enforcement who showed up arguing with me to work for me. So what is it about me and the way I presented in those moments that got them to work for me and not everybody else? Figure it out, because I've said it here many times. If you act like a broken hoe and a slave, you're going to get treated like one. If you act like an honorable, respectable, presentable, intelligent man, you're going to get treated like one. Would you want to work for a dummy who was a slave and pathetic and embarrassing? I wouldn't. So if I show up and I'm Mr. Officer, I'm only really going to want to work for somebody who's competent and capable and can show me the change that they want to see me being. If not, what are we doing there? You got to inspire me to inspire you to inspire me to inspire you. That's how any organization or any endeavor works, as far as I know, any relationship. So don't expect the government to work for the average public when they're pathetic, cowardly, dumb slaves who can barely talk, just like their heroes, Joe Biden and Elon and all the rest of them. Give me a break. I wouldn't want to work for you either.
Well, that's the problem is that too many people that don't think much of themselves out there, and because they don't think much of themselves, they don't think much of others, and that's the problem. A lot of people in law enforcement, military, government, that's what they are. They don't think much of themselves, and when people like us come around sharing some information to free them from their slave mentality, they get threatened by it.
They don't think, period.
What it is that they just think whatever program they've been given.
They've been given.
Yeah, exactly. They've been given a product, just like if you're saying you're American or Canadian or whatever, or Christian, you're essentially been sold a product. You've taken it for face value. Now you've made it your identity. And now you don't really understand what identity you've taken on. So now people come around, challenge that identity. And now you get butthurt and all these feelings come out. And then you start getting violent and, all this kind of stuff. And that's why we have the problems we have today. Because people are buying products, Pharaoh's products, they call them. They're all pharaonic. Our system is holy. Roman Empire is always selling us corporate fucking goods. Hey, pick one, whatever. And then everyone's taking on that as their identity. And that's why people are so fucking frail. Because corporations, they're dead entities. They have no conscience. What gives us the difference between anything out there is that we have a conscience, that we're able to manipulate law, land, air, and water, and be able to manifest and do things. But people don't know that power, and they give it away all the time.
Well, I think most of those people haven't gotten out of raising their hand to go take a piss when you're in first grade. This is where it all comes from. They just never let that go. They think they need permission to do anything they want to do.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, even the right thing.
Yeah, I heard you guys before say, I think it was John said before, like, you want people to get justice. Like, who is to get justice?
Who is to get justice?
Yeah.
Just those that abuse and take advantage of others.
Be specific.
Oh, be specific. be specific.
Yeah.
It's gracious. Well, then you're going to ask me for proof that I know these people did what they've claimed to have done.
Well,
anyone that's harmed a child, okay? Anyone that took advantage of a child deserves justice, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's a general statement. Okay, like yeah, I would agree, but you're more like you're coming from these folks need to get justice. I mean, again, okay, you're going to talk about, or you have other examples? Because are you going to go and say government folks, banker, like is that what you're getting at? Cops or what do you mean?
No, I'm just I don't understand what you don't understand. I'm just thinking no one has the right to cause harm to anyone that hasn't caused harm to them or someone else. So anyone that takes advantage of like a weak person or whatever, a disabled person, a retarded person, however you want to say it, I just can't stand these fucking people. Just leave these fucking people alone. Let them live their lives. My God, why do these people need to control others? This is my point. Control yourselves, live your life. Just leave the people that want to be left alone the fuck alone.
Yeah,
that's right. But then in the next breath, you're going to have a whole group of people and all their family begging for services and privileges.
Right.
Like you want to say be left alone, and then it's like it's conveniently we conveniently want to be left alone. We choose, and we conveniently want the same abusive, corrupt people to give us shit because we're needy and codependent. This is exactly what it's meant to be.
You give them a piece of land, show them how to grow the food, give them a couple chickens, whatever, and then say, okay,
"Oh, we can't do it, John. We can't do it."
And then you go from there. Once you learn how to take care of yourself,
can't even mow his own fucking lawn, and he's able-bodied, and he's not retarded technically. He's a very well-spoken, well-written man. He's articulate in his own right. He's befuddled. But, he can't even get up to mow his own lawn with a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom house. Who are you kidding, John? I get it. You got a bleeding heart today. I have it too. And then we have to get down to reality at some point.
No, I hear you.
The reality is these same people, many of them able-bodied, claim disabilities and victimhood to not do what they're supposed to and then beg other people to supplement what they refuse to create. Then you want to say be left alone.
Right,
well, live like that.
And then you're victiming for those folks by saying, leave those poor folks alone. Look, all day, all support.
Those are Timmy, real quick. These are the same pathetic slaves who are going to make a phone call on you when they don't like what you're doing and get you dragged the fuck off, and you're going to have a bleeding heart for them.
Or killed.
They're the same people who use the system to live who are going to make a call on you when they get the latest campaign of what to be on the lookout for and see something, say something. I don't feel bad for them. I don't even pity. I guess I pity him, if anything. But it's just I just sit with the cause and effect of what it is. I don't even hold an emotion about it. There's no point.
Bro, every video we see or the slave news, I always look, what is the subtext at the beginning of this video? And it's always some slave calling in the system to help it on some level. You see all these Ring cameras. A, why do you have that? B, why do you live on a fucking street where the fucking policy enforcers are 1 millimeter? There's 1 millimeter between their door and access. Why is your door, have access to fucking anybody on some street shared with hundreds of people that you don't fucking know? Right. It's these basic concepts that are just, it's just weird. That's weird. You should have land. You should know your neighbor.
Right. You got every single person that I know and pretty much everyone living in cities and suburbs applying and begging for services directly or indirectly and paying for that system. Then want to say, why won't you leave us alone? This is toxic, broken hoe logic. I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but this is one for one, the narcissism victim swing. In these relationships, you'll see the same thing. They're oh, they're so abusive. They're so mean. They're horrible. Well, why are you hanging around for decades? Why have you not left? Why have you not detached and departed from? So who's to blame? You're feeding it. You're giving it your time, energy, attention, and your care. You're not unplugging. That's the thing. And when you go before court, they're not interested in everybody's feelers. Judge Judy's going to say, yeah, he may be a narcissist and all the rest of your crap that you're going to victim with, but you're a victimhood broken hoe bitch. And it takes both of you to do this dance. One of you is going to have to stop at some point. What are the odds the narcissist is going to? So why does the victim continue to make a victim out of themselves with someone who's not going to change? It's a choice. You could argue there's more responsibility and accountability on the victim. I'm not victim blaming, but you're claiming these are insane psychopathic people who don't know themselves and are just doing evil. Well, why are you in a relationship and in a geographical location with them and serving them and what they're doing? You're more accountable and responsible because you claim to know love and care and what's true and what's right, but won't do it and be it. You need these people you're making a victim of yourself out of, clearly, on some level. If you didn't, you wouldn't deal with them and you wouldn't be around them. Whose fault is it?
What if the greatest trick the devil ever played is to convince us that he wasn't God?
Again, I've pretty much spoken that the more that I live this, the more I'm coming to the conclusion there's nothing here to fight or resist. Whatever we claim is evil or dark or the devil is a functionary of the all. It could not exist if it was not part of the creation for a reason.
But
and I see what the reason is.
How come I can't bring any of that in me? Why do I not have any of that evil in me? I could not do what these people do. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way.
You're doing it in your own way. That's the thing. You're not doing it the way they're doing it, but you're feeding it and creating it and mirroring it in your own ways. Everyone is in this world. How are you going to tell me you haven't voted in the past? How are you going to tell me you haven't paid?
Yes.
Okay. So you've given your greatest resource, your time, energy, attention to corrupt hitmen to destroy all of us and then go, I could never be evil like them. You supported them and gave them everything to make it happen.
Well, I supported the ones that I thought were trying to change the evil, but I was
right. So you're playing a game like we all like to do. It's called holier than thou, and it's not going to work for us. Because the reality is everyone has participated in this and fed it and co-created with it and generated their own fucking results. And then want to blame the being who you gave everything to. Whose fault is it?
It's all of ours.
Well, it's exactly
right. So there's no more victim. There's only an opportunity at that point to stop and do something and be something better. Yeah. There's your justice. You learned, you grew, you know now. You stop interacting and engaging. You be set free. Seek the truth, accept the truth, and be set free. Isn't that the game? Justice is for God to decide. And trust me, everyone's getting exactly what the fuck they need, it would seem, whether they want to accept it or not.
Right, yo, the best you can. That's it. Just
yo, John, that angst. I know that angst. I feel it sometimes. I know what that is. That angst of like, oh, there's wrongdoers out here and getting away with something. They're not getting away with shit. Like if you actually believe in the higher power and that justice is served, then what is there to be anxious about? Like they will get theirs or already are, and you and I don't have to. Like, what's the parameter that we have to see that at, right?
I guess
like
it's
some
just
bullshit court.
Prove that to myself, that being true. I want to
believe the game that everyone
every
plays is you go to what you think the top is when this is manifested bottom up. Soon as you start naming those qualities, I go to the people around me and myself and what I know about us. You want to go to people you don't even know who you see on TV and don't realize they're a reflection of you and what everyone's done. So when you talk about motherfuckers lying, cheating, stealing, getting away with shit, playing games, being corrupt, I start thinking about friends and family and myself and how we've all created exactly the government that replicates who and what we are. How many motherfuckers are standing on what's true and what's right and doing what's true and what's right, or even have a care to. They don't. They're money motivated. They're power motivated. They're worldly people. So you don't think you're going to get the government you deserve when the majority of you, your friends, your family, all of us at some point have been reprobate, worldly, cultured infidels, part of a cult of chasing money and worldly status and power and throwing away principles and true values and our rights to boot? Come on, man. At some point, we got to accept that, like, you got to put aside the ego and the bullshit and accept that this is a realm of cause and effect and manifestation. As within, so without, as above, so below. Yeah, you want to go to the top and criticize? I'm going to show you how there's 7 billion people at the bottom manifesting what you're complaining is a small group at the top. It's one for one. You couldn't have one without the other. You didn't have 7 billion cowardly, lying, two-faced, cheating, inauthentic corporate slaves. You wouldn't have so few at the top emulating them and identifying with them and ruling over them. It has to be a co-creative process.
I don't see how this came to be. I just don't see how one man could control hundreds of others. You see somebody in that group would step up and say, fuck you, this is as far as you're going, buddy. Get the fuck out of here, right? I don't see how this ever came to be. I just don't. I mean, do you believe it's just evil in men, or do you believe it's evil controlling men? You know, some type of spiritual evil, I mean.
I just think it's the same self replicated over and over again to the point where it becomes a macro theme that's commensurate with the micro theme. You know, so if you have a whole bunch of people who either believe or been taught that they have no true power, value, or standards, well, then you're going to replicate and generate that experience. And it's going to look like a bunch of retarded, senilic people who are incompetent and incapable showing up to rule you or guide you. How could they be there and be accepted and be funded if everyone else didn't believe whatever they were to show up to meet them as they are? You act like if 7 billion people were competent and capable, conscious and aware, God-fearing, in quotes, faithful, trustworthy, honorable people, that these clowns would have showed up to mirror who and what we are. It couldn't be done.
Yeah, I agree.
And who's more evil? The one who lies to another and tells them they ain't shit and that they're a worm, or the fucking one who accepts that lie and believes it their whole fucking life? Who's worse?
Good question.
I say the latter.
Well, it's like they say the only true evil, the most evil, is the apathy of good men and women. I mean, it's like when you allow bad things to flourish when you're there and you can do something to stop it, you're just as bad. You're actually worse, you know, and that's true. And
it's the same dynamic I keep pointing out. We're going to have to get to it here at some point, the Chile de Castro saga. He's railing and yelling and screaming and projecting, but then he's rejecting the idea that he is the system he's railing about. You are the inauthentic corporate beta male who wants to ride the fence, be two-faced and duplicitous, not stand on your own word, hire someone else to get you out of trouble you beg to create, and you wonder why we have incompetent, incapable, two-faced, inauthentic corporate males who want to hire people to get themselves out of the trouble they've helped to create, called government. You are that. You guys are that, and you're crying and railing about the thing you are, the way you show up in your life, just how you live. I don't know how else to break it to everybody. This is the harsh reality we're going to have to accept and then change to change this dynamic. You can't solve a problem with the same level of consciousness that created it. And that's what we have going on here. They're finding the fault and the negativity in everyone else and not seeing how what they're experiencing out there was first generated in here in preponderance on the mass scale. If you guys didn't believe in statute, policy, and code and bullshit courts and men in dresses called the Supreme Court and all the rest of it, if you didn't accept all these concepts and beliefs, they couldn't hold you to it. Because you have, they're going to. You know, so keep railing against the system that you keep buying into is where all the power and remedy is, when all the power and remedy is in you and with what we call God and this universe and the truth. Doesn't require an intercessor. If you think it does, you're going to get pimped on. As within, so without.
Don't we need a good understanding of how the system came to be in order to really affect change? How did it?
Why? I can say yes, but
throwing
why?
that shit out there.
Like,
Well,
why?
He's right. What he's saying there is true, because you have to know the system, how it sees you, in order to know who you are in the system.
Why?
Well,
why? I don't see how that. Do I need someone in the middle of the jungle to learn the system for them to know themselves and know the universe and be unwavering in their truth and the truth under God?
Well, there's a difference there.
Interfering in them
outside of the equation, then it's not relevant. But I mean, if you're living in the system, like you're living in Canada, you have no choice but to deal.
You just did it. You just did it. You're doing it now.
Yeah.
I live in Canada. Could you please describe this thing you live in that you call Canada? Is it an alternate membrane reality?
Paul, listen.
You keep speaking into existence a reality that doesn't exist, and it makes you sound insane, and you think you're credible and intelligent because you're institutionalized.
No, dude, it's
You
not
don't
about
live
that.
in anything. You live in a universe. You're out of your mama at this point. You were in her, now you're out, and you're in a universe with the rest of us.
Yes, Paul, we know that. But what we're saying is that
We don't know that. I know that. You don't, because you keep speaking the alternate reality they've given you.
About what I know, Paul. Stop making assumptions about what I know. And that's the thing.
This is what you all do. You're arrogant and ignorant. You're doing it now.
Well,
you're doing it now.
You're not even listening to what I have to share.
You live in Canada. You live in a system. Tell me more about it. Is in the room with you right now?
I'm trying to explain something. If you want to listen, maybe humble yourself.
You're trying to explain to me mind and heart control. I'm well aware of it, sir. It's not
about that, bro. It's about.
Okay, go ahead. I'm incorrect. Go ahead.
You are. And I'm going to tell you.
Tell me how you live in a system and in Canada and still in your mama with her spirit. Tell me all about it.
The thing is, when you live, okay, you live in your heart, your spirit. That's understandable. I know what you're saying, Paul, is that when you know the system, when you know how it's been brought up, you know it symbolically, you know how they see you. That's how you know how to essentially stand for the truth that you are. Once you understand what that is, then you know what the system is. Now you know how to protect yourself and stand and make your choice and know that it's all an illusion. But if you don't know that, Paul, people don't know that. People think and stick, like you say, they're part of the construct. They think this is reality. But once you go into it and realize it's not reality, is that it's a construct that was created for all of us to enslave us.
Once you go into yourself and know yourself, you realize the system is a bunch of crap.
Absolutely.
But you don't necessarily have to go into a sewer to know what shit is.
No. But it's not about going into the sewer, but it's also learning about the system and understanding that, see, the construct of law.
Again, we're at completely opposite.
It's not all fallacy, like you say. It's one and the same. It's just like, well, you need one to the other. It complements itself. So our system of law is it's corrupt, but it doesn't mean that its essence
is not corrupt. That's what you don't, dude. That's what you don't fucking understand. It's not corrupt, you dumbass. What is corrupt about the system of law?
What's the name calling here, man?
Whoa, like, Timmy!
Fucking name calling to a low here, man. Because I'll tell you,
I'm gonna stop him right now. I'm gonna stop him right now. Timmy, you're being very rude and mean. Stop it.
What the fuck, man? Like,
I'm not from Canada. I'm not in Canada, so I don't have to abide by your
What are you in right now?
You're in dishonor.
I'm in an asylum, apparently.
Yeah, tell me about dishonor. Tell me about dishonor. You just said the whole system of law is corrupt. Can you explain that?
I said it doesn't mean that the system is corrupt that you see today.
You just said that.
Well, it is. When people go around converting, subverting, and perverting the law and flipping on its head, that's corruption and trying to sell it as law.
Who are these people?
Is corruption. What are you talking about? Are you one of those new agers that think that, there's no problems, therefore I'm not going to pay attention?
You just made an accusation. Who are the people that are
understand the law?
No. Hang on, Charles.
We got another mansplainer. He's going to tell us what we all don't understand. I love these types.
Hang on, Charles. I have some authority here. I've just muted you. All right, sir. So how this works is here. We're going to do it back and forth. All right, let's do it back and forth. So who are all these perverter and converters? Who are those?
It's him. He doesn't understand. It's him and everyone around him. He won't accept it. It's everyone else. He's doing Talcott. It's Charles Talcott.
Okay, man. Whatever, man. You guys, you want to put other people's.
You're gonna run?
No, you want to make assumptions because you're like taking words and then you're going out of context. Like,
no, I just.
You know what?
No, I asked you.
There's an ancient quote. It was scrawled on every concentration camp. It's like, know thyself, know the universe. Your logic is know the system, know the self. I don't accept it.
It's not.
You're not going to overwrite ancient wisdom and objective logic, morals, and ethics and spiritual practice here.
Well,
sorry.
If you're out there trying to inspire people to be boots on the ground,
do
something about it, right?
You're now using buzzwords. You're now buzzwording like Zach Hubbard, boots on the ground. Are you running for governor anytime soon?
No, I'm just
boots on the ground guy.
Reaching out to my
more fascist propaganda buzzword lingo you got from your masters. Boots on the ground. What are you, Hillary Clinton? We got boots on the ground. Give me a break, dude.
Seeing that you're getting involved, that you're out there, that you're actually trying to reach out.
Yeah, I know. You're so out there and involved. Tell us all about it while you make judgments on me.
I'm not making judgments. You're the one passing judgments about what I'm trying to say, Paul. Like, do you not realize
what you're saying is fucking nonsense, and you're projecting and rejecting like many people who come here.
You're the guys that you're going to talk down to.
You're exactly like them. Well, yeah, you are, because you're going to like buck up now and get in your ego, or you're going to run at some point. So you're probably just like them.
But at this point right now, bro, you're just being narcissistic, man. You're just
there we
being like,
go.
Oh
It
my
wouldn't be
God.
complete if we didn't get the Talcati and because now
No,
you're an
because
expert.
assuming
You're an expert at
what I'm
5
gonna
things
say
now.
is this
You're a
and that, and you
clinical
don't even listen to
psychologist
people's
as well.
Let me help.
You
Sir,
just
you're
you just
fat and
diagnosed
and you're already
narcissist.
assuming what they're gonna say. You're gonna go out in the
I'm
tangent
pretty
about
sure
what
that's
you
you
think and
once
what they
again.
say,
You're in
bro.
love with your own bullshit and reflection, and
Well,
you keep projecting
dude,
and rejecting because
dude,
you don't want to
you're
come to
talking to
actual
yourself that way.
self-knowledge.
That's what you're saying to yourself right now. You're talking to
Okay.
yourself. Like you said, I'm you, you're me, right?
Oh, you did it. You gave us
There you go.
the triplicate, the quadruplicate, right? You gave us
I'll
the
throw
whole thing,
everything back
word
to
for
you,
word.
bro,
You
the
just
way
told me you're
throw at
nothing
people,
like
man.
them, but you did everything that they do.
It's not about
Down
that,
to
bro.
calling me a narcissist while you're
Yeah,
doing
I didn't say
narcissism.
I said you're being narcissist. It doesn't mean you are narcissist, but you're
Okay.
acting like a narcissist.
Okay. Well, that's
Especially
another
when people don't wanna
buzzword that
hear
like
what
takes
other people
power
have
and
to say,
control
let 'em
over everyone.
finish, 'cause you're afraid
Yeah,
of what they
that's
have to
another
say.
like buzzword that's supposed to take power and control over me and get me to submit to you because I'm a
No, it's
wrongdoer
not
now,
about
right?
that, Paul. This is like, you know, see again, all
Yeah,
these assumptions.
it's
and
not that you're
presumptions.
buying your own bullshit and you act like you have something to say, and I deem it to be complete nonsense. And when I ask you for what your application is, I would bet you're going to say little to nothing.
Well,
So what are you
that's your
doing, boots
assumption.
on the
Again,
ground?
You don't know me, bro. You don't know me.
I'm not. There has to be some healthy level of presumption. I'm not assuming, I'm presuming. So now you can correct me in the record and tell me all about boots on the ground and what you're up to, since that's apparently where you want to go with this discussion.
Well, Paul, if you just learn to like let people talk and stop assuming on what their
I know. I
intentions
should
are.
just let people talk up here all
Yeah,
day,
dude,
every day.
because you
Just
know what?
let
People
them
give you
talk.
that consideration and
That's
respect.
what's going to
and you
make
listen
my
to you.
life and everyone else's in the broadcast better. It's just letting people talk.
No, just let people finish what they have to say.
Right.
Then you can interject.
Now you
bro.
can show me, or you can give me an anecdotal report on what you're doing with the courts and the system and everything else, boots on the ground.
Well, essentially, what I've been doing is reaching out to the law enforcement. Okay, reaching out like a brother.
So you're giving reaching out. I know a lot of folks who give reaching out.
Okay, so what are you doing, Paul? Here, what are you doing?
We've been
Are you just
over
putting
this.
on
I'm
here just
tired
to
of this
talk?
game with you all. You
No, but are you
make
out
the
there
false
reaching out to
presumption
them?
and
What are you
judgment. I'm
doing
not
this
doing
for?
anything.
Why are you
Then when
on
I ask you what
YouTube?
you're doing, you go, I'm
What are you on
spread
YouTube
pounding,
for?
coming, boots on the ground, reach arounding out.
Yeah, well, see, that's
It's
the thing,
always
like, you're
always
talking
duplicitous
instead of being out
lingo
there,
that
boots on
never
the
gets
ground,
down to what's
getting
actually
physical,
happening.
Reaching out to your brothers, expressing, being the example you want. You're here talking.
Right. Why would
and
anyone
going
in
and trying to make
policy
defenses of
enforcement
other
listen to
people's
you
fucking
exactly?
intentions, bro.
Tell
Like,
me
I don't
why
know, man.
anyone in policy enforcement is going to listen to you.
Well, some of them do, not everyone, but they're like you said,
But
we're
why?
all humans, man. We're all
Why?
trying to be brothers.
He won't ever answer a question. This is why I determine at some point who and what they are, and then we do this.
Well, look, man,
You
you
know,
want to assume the
every
worst in
time.
people. That's on you. But I
And we're
assume
not
the best in
assuming.
people.
We're asking direct questions. Why
I'm
would anyone
asking you.
listen?
I'm officer
you?
fuck slave now. I'm officer unslaved. Why am I going to listen to you or take you as credible?
Well, dude, just sitting down, having a conversation like a brother, not.
I don't want to sit down and have conversation with you. And I don't consider you to be a brother. Why am I going to listen to you now? What are you doing? What are you creating?
Dude, I go on the
What's
street,
your
I talk to
understanding
anybody,
other
man.
than
I
know the
have
system, know the
conversations.
self?
Well, that's just how I am. I'm just humane. I just like to be a brother to all my brothers and
Right.
sisters out there. I just like to be, cool and awesome and share what I know. That's it.
Cool and awesome. Right.
Well, dude, you just say it.
You're really cool and awesome. Has anyone told you that lately? Because if not, I'm gonna hear right now. You are really cool and awesome. I gotta tell you.
Hey, Paul, you know what, dude? You're gonna have a lot to fucking reflect on things, bro. Because right now, you know what you're doing. And I've listened to you, and dude, I appreciate a lot of what you're doing. But one thing about you, bro, you like to make assumptions and presumptions based on just a few words of someone's sentence.
No.
That tells me everything about you. Like you don't
that.
like listening to other people, but you like to listen to yourself talk. That's the thing, because you talk a lot, Paul.
No, I've come to a place where I believe that I have an understanding, and I believe it works for me and others.
Okay, bro.
And
I seen your true colors, bro. And you know what? You can keep up with that.
Are you going to start a channel now to expose me by any chance?
No, I don't care, bro. Like I don't do that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I actually wish you all the best. I want nothing but the best for you. I want you to have success because I think you're on the money about a lot of stuff. But I really think you need to humble yourself about some of the things, man.
Okay.
And I can be a brother.
So I have to humble myself to you
without hating you for being.
What have you done exactly that I should humble myself to you?
What's that?
What have you done that I should humble myself to you exactly?
Just humble yourself, period. Not to me.
Okay.
Yourself. Just humble yourself. Period.
So like I should just shut up and let you just talk as much as you want about what you don't know or don't do.
Yeah, dude. Like you can't listen. You can't listen, bro. Like,
all right, here we go. Get your woman in here.
Man, we got 7 for 7. Now he's gonna have the broad in the background pipe up, and he's gonna double down and agree with her. He's got his mama's spirit. It's fascinating.
See, you have
Amazing.
to refer to insults because you're
No,
losing.
you're proving
losing,
who and what you are and how
The-
your
the
life
one
and
that's
house goes.
insulting,
You're
that
proving
cuts
it.
them off. You're losing the
You're a
fucking
beta
debate.
male
You know you're not
bullshitter,
fucking-
and
you're
you
not
live with
right
an
what
angry
you're doing,
broad
bro.
like they all do, who doesn't
I'm not
respect
angry.
you. And now
I'm not
she's going to
angry, bro.
pipe up and tell me how to be a man, to be like you, and get nothing done.
I don't want
And
people to
talk
be like
about
me.
how
I
much
want
we
people
don't
to be
know and
their own
haven't done,
man.
reaching
That's it.
out.
I'm gonna be
Come
my own
on,
man.
bro.
You be your own man. I'm
Cut
just
the
sharing
games.
some information, man. It's you want to go out there. Be
I'm not
boots on the
here to
ground.
spread your information that doesn't go anywhere. That's what you guys still don't get. I'm not here to let you yammer on and spread your misinformation.
Misinformation.
You guys all want to be super spreaders of information, just regurgitating shit that you don't live.
You know,
Oops.
dude, it's okay, man. Like I'm, you know what? My patience is wearing.
I know your patience. I know.
No, dude, like,
You're the one who lacks
dude,
peace.
you know what?
You're the one who lacks
I've done
patience.
time
You're
with
the one who
people,
lacks
bro,
resolve.
and your attitude.
And you'll claim it's me. It's
demonstrates a lot
you.
of narcissism, bro. Like you need to check yourself.
There's the narcissism. He talks like a bitch. It's amazing.
There you go,
Every
the name
goofy,
calling.
broken bitch who doesn't know themselves and appeals to a system for how they live is going to tell me I'm a narcissist because I'm confident and faithful. And I know what I'm talking about and I live it.
No, dude. You see that?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude.
You can't humble yourself. That's fine. That's okay.
I don't need to humble myself before folks who've done and been nothing. That's your arrogance. You should humble yourself. I have something to share here with results. You don't. Humble your motherfucking self. Shut up and listen. Ask me for proof.
You don't know my results. You don't know my results.
You don't have any. We're still waiting for you to talk about them, let alone show them. You don't have any.
I don't need to prove myself.
I guarantee you follow the statute, policy, and code. I guarantee you pay slave tax. I guarantee you vote for masters. I guarantee when they say jump, you say how high. Who the fuck are you?
That's what you think.
Then
You're a
move on.
reacher outer. I know when folks say boots on the ground, spread pound cum, sharing information, reaching out. I know who those people are. You're a Hubbard creature. You got a ponytail. You're a beta male. It's line for line. You guys are all the same. You got a bitch in the background who don't respect you or men in general, hyping up because she knows better than all of us. And she's another clinical psychologist who's going to call me a narcissist.
Like, no, dude, like, you know what, Paul? Like, I thought I'd reach out to me.
Does she run the same garbage on you when you won't appeal to her nonsense? Charles, you're a narcissist. You probably get right in line.
It's okay. We're gonna end this right here because it's gonna end.
Yeah, we're gonna end this right here because you're a coward and you're gonna run and you can't see anything through in your life. That's what I know about people like you.
Yeah.
You can't get to the truth. You have no resolve and you don't see anything through in your life. You're a runner and you got no patience, like you said.
Yeah,
and that's why that bitch don't respect you behind you. She respects me, but she don't like me. See? They like you, but they don't respect you. They respect me, but don't like me.
You're making all sorts of assumptions and presumptions.
Yes, I am, because you're all the same. I've seen it 100 times here.
You're fucking weird, man. You know, it's
I'm
funny
weird, man.
You got so much good going for you, but then you do and you.
I'm not interested in you seeing the good in me. You're not living in yourself and in your life. You can abandon that too.
You see, you're going to be alone. You're going to see how.
No, that's the thing. You presume being alone is the worst fate ever because you're a codependent beta bitch. Being alone is where I have the majority of my peace and reconciliation and walk in faith with God. Only a beta bitch like you would think being alone is the worst fate ever.
Yeah, only losers refer to fucking
right. When you get alone, you get lonely like a hoe. I don't. I get reflective and inspired.
Yeah, there you go. Same goes.
I get co-creative. I get empowered. That's the difference between us.
Yeah, dude.
You need an angry bitch behind you who don't respect you to avoid being alone. I don't. I'd rather be alone because I ain't lonely.
Yeah, you keep having conflicts like this. I noticed this, Paul. Like you go
again. You still won't shut the fuck up and stop making it about you and spreading your information and spewing your feelers. This is not your broadcast.
You're all over
we don't want it. We don't care what you have to say and feel at this point, I suspect. But you're going to keep yammering on.
Everyone in the chat,
and if it's not running, he's going to passive aggressively yammer on. Yeah. Imagine you just trying a third option one time in your life. Shut up and listening and getting real with yourself and others. Trying to connect to some spirit in you, some passion, some care. Guy doesn't realize, I could tell by looking at him, he's got a broken look in his eye, first and foremost. The eyes are the windows to the soul. The yellow, gray skin and dark circled eyes don't ever help either. Do we have to get into this? Because it's 10 for 10 across the board every time. Guarantee if I ask him what he does for a living, we're going to get a double down on that. He's an immoral, unethical slave, like the majority of them. But he's got information, don't you know? And he's going to spread it. And I just won't let enough people up here to spread their information. And when I ask them what they're doing different and how they're living, I never get an answer. I get, Paulie, you're a narcissist because you asked for accountability. I'm pretty sure that's what a narcissist would say. Soon as you ask them for accountability and firsthand information, they go to making labels. Is it because you run from accountability and responsibility, but you want to be seen as in the know? You want to be seen as some entitlement? Like you have some information and something to share? Then you say ridiculous things like you have to know the system to know yourself? No, that's the opposite of what I'm doing here. You think I'm going to let someone in here to do the opposite of what I come here to do? That is my firsthand experience that has freed me and apparently many others who I deal with on some level? No, I'm not going to do that, Shaitan. I'm not going to bring you in here to undo everything that I live for and stand for. No.
Just humble yourself, Paul.
No. Humbling yourself before other beta males is for people who don't do shit. I humble myself before the truth and the creative force. I don't need to humble myself before inactive, weak-ass motherfuckers. No, I don't. You're not going to falsely equalize with me. Figure out another way.
His bitch says that to him daily. Just humble yourself.
Yeah,
goes,
right.
Okay.
And then he listens. And he listens and wonders why he's a coward and codependent. I need someone with their mama's spirit to be a leader and a guru to me, to lead, guide, and protect and reveal to me. Are you kidding? You could take one look in these people's eyes and tell that they'll fold like a lawn chair under any pressure, and they're going to get to yammering. You guys don't really understand what discernment is. When you come from a place where you got to know by the time that guy gets around the corner if he's going to put a knife in you or not, you start to develop discernment pretty fucking quick. While the rest of you clowns in the middle of cupcake land just go around with this broken, gullible, naive look in your eye, no discernment, no knowledge of self, and then just yammer your information that's toxic and leads to no level up or growth. Are you kidding me? You got mistaken. Your place is down the hall and to the left. It's Talcott. It's room 3A around the corner. It's Talcott. That's where you want to go. Where we can just sit around, spread information that sounds good and feels good. And then we ask everyone in the room, what are you doing and being and creating? What are your results? They go, narcissism. It's not how that works. You're going to overthrow thousands of years of ancient wisdom that has changed lives. Know the system, know yourself. This is another guy who'll write a book and no one will buy it. And he'll go, I'm an accomplished author. What's line one? Know the system, know yourself. Great stuff, Paracelsus.
Your sewer example is great. It's like, I need to go climb into the sewer and cover myself in shit, blindfolded,
There's
and then
Paracelsus and then there's peristalsis. Yeah. These people are literally like a living embodiment of a colon that just does this all day. Yeah. That's all it does. The peristaltic action. Just full of shit, right? This is the modern day philosopher beta male of our time with no action and no results and no civil disobedience. I reach out to the policy enforcement. Could you imagine? Just put yourself in a simulation, right? We have it in us. Imagine, Timmy, you're Sergeant Carini, right? At the fucking at the station, and this guy calls you up, right? You just beat someone, you just tased someone else. Yeah. Right? Maybe you just shot someone or was shot at. Right? You're just deep in genocide, slavery, and fascism, and you're even like an arm of it. And now this guy calls up the station. Debbie's got this guy, Charles, on line one with the wife in the background.
Yeah. All right. Sergeant Timmy here. What, Charles?
Hello,
what can I do
Timmy?
for you, Charles?
Yes. I just want to spread some information with you. Are you there?
Okay.
I don't know what kind of accent that was that he has.
I got a minute.
You got a minute? Okay, hold on. I mean, honey, what do I say? Citizen. I've never got this far before. I think you need to humble yourself, Sergeant Carini.
Okay. I'll get right on that.
All right.
Anything else?
I don't know what to say. John, please help me out. Am I being the asshole they say I am? Am I just completely throwing the baby out with the bathwater? Am I being shallow, materialistic, and narcissistic, as he and others have said?
That's a lot of questions there.
This is a conference call. All right, you slaves have a nice day, and goodbye. I'm gonna let you go now.
Wait a minute. Oh, I forgot. We were still on the line with Sergeant Carini. All right, Sergeant Carini. We'll see you later. Charles is gone. He ran out of patience. They'll have me in a cell. I'll be doing 10 years, and I'll call Charles. Charles, what do you got on patience? I ran out on the broadcast 8 years ago with you. All right. I'll call back. We'll talk later. He ran out of patience. It's amazing. I'm like a decade into like with this, doing this with everyone, including policy enforcement and everyone in my life. And he's run out of patience talking online.
You're 5 minutes in.
Yeah. He needs a trifold, that guy, is really what it is. He needs a board game and a trifold. It's amazing. All right, let's go to DeCastro. What the hell? DeCastro's been on my mind lately. He's a favorite of mine. The saga, it's better than Netflix. The DeCastro saga. They'll say the same thing about me. You know, I'm a nut. I'm out and about. I'm out there. I may get arrested and do a 360. Fuck a 180. And then I can call Charles, prepaid. I can call Charles on the jail phone and ask him how to work on patience. You know, how to really tap into that love and light and that patience while I'm behind the wall, while he's reaching out at home with his wife.
Well, you're doing it, Paul. You're doing it. You're in the system.
What's that?
Now you're learning. You're learning how to get out of the system by going into the system.
Yeah.
You're doing it.
I just read you know what? I'm like DeCastro. Hello, world. I just read a great philosophical quote by Paracelsus this morning. It said, know the system, know yourself. So I'm making extreme progress and strides here. And I'm going to bring this teaching to worldwide through the form of a board game. I'm going to be known forever. All right, let's get to it.
Hey, Paul, did you ever see the Larry McDonald interview on Crossfire from 1983?
Say again?
Have you ever seen the Larry McDonald interview? He was a congressman on Crossfire from 1983.
I don't believe I'm aware of that.
He was asked questions, you know, about basically the New World Order and the players, and he gave completely honest answers, and he was killed in a plane flight shortly after that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But if you want, I'll put the interview in the private chat for it if you want to watch it sometime. It's really good. It's really good. I can't believe he's given those answers to these guys. I mean, wow. I mean, an actual congressman telling the truth. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while, you get just so sick and tired of your own and everyone else's bullshit in this simulation that you just go rogue. That's me. I went rogue at some point. Tired of bullshitting myself and everyone else, and I'm tired of being bullshitted. I'm done. I'm just going to call it as I see it. If you got anything better to show me or tell me, please have at it, because I got to correct my shit. But if not, I'm riding with whatever it seems like it is at this point. Maybe I'm very arrogant. I believe I have enough life experience with people, places, and things, and self at this point to kind of know what's going on in every room to some degree, you know? And again, if I'm shown or told something that compels me to a different perspective, I'm more than willing and open to it. I haven't really seen it or heard it yet lately, you know? Not saying that there's not more to complete within me. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying there's not more to learn here, to grow and to know, or to just remember or reconcile. I'm saying the majority of these panels and the majority of the public is caught in a culture, root word cult, where they're just so free, bullshitting themselves and everyone else, and sitting in a room with other people are going to do the same. They call it holiday dinner, among other things. They call it city council, among other things. They call it your modern day classroom, among other things. I'm not doing it anymore. I never really did to begin with. And I'm out. I've gone rogue. So we're gonna check all of our own bullshit and our wants and non-wants and desires, and we're gonna have a real conversation about who and what we are, what we're doing and not doing. And frankly, yesterday when Brian asked me how do I feed myself, I did it. I lapsed into and slipped into not directly answering. I don't grow my food at this point. We're working on it. I want to get to a point where I can grow most of my food. Right now, I exist like the rest of slaves because we're all slaves on some level. I'm not insulting the audience. I'm pointing out an uncomfortable reality for all of us. So at this point, I go to Slave Mart to get my food, right? I did it. I lapsed into a generalized want, what I wanted, what I'm working on, what's going to be, right? I did it. I started macking on the audience, like we're back in middle school. Oh, baby, it's going to be great. I went into telling you what it's going to be and what I'm manifesting and creating, not what it is. So what it is I'm a fat fuck, and Slave Mart is where I get my food. That's as direct of an answer as I can give. Okay? And that needs to change. The only way that can change is if I admit it and reconcile with it and accept it. The same way I think you need to accept knowing the system is not how you know yourself. And reaching out is not how we're going to make change. You actually have to stop complying and obeying and correct the status and standing and potentially go to jail or be killed. I know that's the tough part. Your alternate option is you can live the rest of your days in slavery, genocide, mind and heart control, bullshit yourself and everyone else. Just don't expect me to join the holiday dinner. It's not going to go well. De Castro, May 22nd, report, court tomorrow, exclamation point, go.
Hello, world. Today's
Hello,
May
world.
20th, 2024. My name is Chili De Castro. I'm a journalist who's been wrongfully imprisoned in Clark County Detention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. It was a kangaroo court from the beginning. I had a biased and unprincipled judge who sentenced me to 6 months in jail for obstruction and resisting. The research we've done has shown that in the past 5 years in that same courtroom with that same judge, she's put nobody in jail for obstruction. In the 4 cases that went to trial, none of those people were sentenced to jail. They were all given anger management, impulse training, and then the misdemeanor fell off their record. So what's happening in our country right now, and we're seeing in the newspapers, we're seeing that censorship is becoming the way of this government. And what's happening right now is history is repeating itself. If we go back to the year 1917, Woodrow Wilson has become president. And it's a real shame that he became president at all whatsoever. Because what happened in 1912, Theodore Roosevelt and William Howard Taft ran against each other, and they were both the Republican representatives. And then they split the vote. They got 7.5 million votes, and Woodrow Wilson got 6 million. If they had not ran against each other, then most likely Theodore Roosevelt would have been president because he got more votes than William Howard Taft. However, when Woodrow Wilson got in, he was an authoritarian, total demagogue. And in 1917, he encouraged Congress to pass what was called the Espionage Act. And so in 1917, Woodrow Wilson encouraged Congress to pass the Espionage Act.
Now, Timmy, I didn't mention it, and that goes for everyone here.
Yeah.
Feel free to just bellow out if you want me to stop the video and you want to give commentary, because I can feel the thing in me, and I can just, many times I let it ride. But I know if I feel it in me, that Timmy's probably got it happening in him. We're like merged at this point. It's like a Talcottian merge. So just feel free if you got anything to say, when you hear him talking about codes and acts and all the rest of the crap that he thinks is what gives us our power and our value.
Yeah.
Let's see who this person is. I can do this. I was gonna bring him up with the screen up there, but let's do Phil, Dr. Paul. Faceplant, how are you, sir? Faceplant, can I see and hear you? Can't hear you. Testing. Let's go. Make it quick. Can we see and hear you?
You are faceplanting right now.
Hey,
Faceplant line 1. What now?
He's here. I'll remute, but he's here.
I know, but can I see him and hear him? We're on conference call, line 1, Faceplant. What happens when the name reveals who and what they are every time? Okay, we're going to move on. Can't see you, can't hear you, not trusting it. Got a lot of deviants running around that want to interfere with broadcast.
Espionage Act. And the Espionage Act said that if you say anything that's against the government or against the military, then you could be sentenced to jail for 10 years and fined $20,000. And then in 1918, he encouraged the government to pass the Sedition Act, which limited what you could put in the mail as far as petitioning to the general public or petitioning to the government. And he gave the Postmaster General the right to simply throw away your mailing. So then what happens in 1918, Eugene Debs, who had ran on the socialist ticket in 1900, 1904, 1908, and 1912. Every single election, Eugene Debs, who was a socialist and a communist, which I don't agree with, but he has the right to run. He has the right to be heard. In 1900, I think he got like 100,000 votes when he ran against McKinley. And then in 1904, when he ran against Theodore Roosevelt, he got a couple 100,000 votes. And then in 1908, when he ran against William Howard Taft, he got 400,000 votes or something like that. And then in 1912, when he ran against Woodrow Wilson, he almost got 1 million votes. And then Woodrow Wilson gets into office, and he passes those two acts back to back, 1917 and 1918, the Espionage Act of 1917, the Sedition Act of 1918. Later in the year, in 1918, when Eugene Debs gives a speech that's anti-war, he's arrested and sentenced to 10 years in prison for giving a speech that's anti-war. What are we seeing in today's world? They now are making it, and both House and Senate voted on a bill that makes it a criminal act to say those words on a college campus. We are repeating history. That's what's happening right now in our country. They're repeating history. The government is censoring words you can say because they don't like them. And we have to stand up against that. You have a First Amendment right enshrined in the Constitution, enshrined in the Bill of Rights, that has been there since 1793. You have the right to petition the government. You have the right to say words you want to say, as long as you're not threatening somebody else with harm. You can petition the government anytime you want, as long as you're not sending out threats.
Yeah, you can beg anytime you want. That's true.
The petition should be clean. The petition should be fair. The petition should be honest. You should be redressing government through petition. I'm in a dungeon for filming cops because the lady judge was married to a cop. Her last name is still the name of Lieutenant Zimmerman.
You're gaslighting. It's not why. Because another administrator who may even want to uphold the law of the land has a dual jurisdiction. This is one big game. Problem is that our property, our rights, our freedom, our life's on the line as part of this game. So it's a very interesting game with quote unquote real world consequences. It's not because she loved police. You made claims on record. You said you want to go to jail. You want to get arrested. You said fuck all pigs. You went to war with the corporation and then hired someone to speak for you. All they could do is fuck you at that point. You presented like a broken hoe. You got to get pimped on spiritually. This is the game. I'm reducing it down to the most simple aspects so folks can really get what's going on here. They want to overcomplicate the shit out of this, give us a lesson on legal history for the last 200 years. None of that changes a man judged on his values and principles, common sense, cause and effect, and how you present and the results that you generate in yourself and in your life. Right? So I tend to think that if you're an outspoken person and you have this much of a following and you show up at court, if you present yourself properly and you're equitable and you're honorable and you're honest and you're trustworthy and you speak for yourself like a man and you stand on it, you're probably going to get some level of favorable results. Or even if you do get negative results, it's probably not going to be that extreme as what it was. But you want to keep doing the same thing you did as a child with your parents. But Timmy didn't get 10 days in suspension. But Johnny didn't get 180 days in timeout and did the same thing. You're doing it again. You're shirking your personal accountability responsibility and claiming you're just like everyone else. The point of being God's people is God doesn't put anything on your shoulders that you can't bear. This is why you folks need to be God-fearing, faithful people, because when you're not, you act like broken children. It's okay to be broken children as long as you recognize your quote-unquote father in heaven, like they like to say. Okay, that'll get you right back into order into who and what you need to be and reconciliation within yourself. Stop talking about everyone else and you got the worst. You got the biggest mouth. You're the alpha male, remember, on camera with all the cops? You're the one who everyone's shaking about. You're the one with 500,000 subscribers while I'm shadow banned. You're the one who shows up to court and lets other beta males speak for you. And you think you're going to be treated with any kind of mercy and grace and honorability when you've done exactly the opposite to create that for yourself on your walk? I don't think so, little Chili. This is what your daddy, who wasn't around, should have taught you. This is what I have to teach a lot of you online because your daddy wasn't around. How to be truly, authentically accountable while being authentic, right? Being authentic and radically accountable and responsible and forgiving in truth and faith, knowing that there's some bigger and long game purpose here for your growth, level up, and development. Because you probably don't have or know everything you need to know. And if you do, you're not presenting it properly. Is probably what's going on here in a lot of our lives. That's my story. So maybe I'm projecting. Maybe I think I know something about him because I know it about me. It's true about me, but not him or anyone else. Doubtful, because I see the patterns. I see the way of beingness. I see the words chosen and spoken. I know the root of the consciousness. I know the heart of the being and their intention. I know their motivation. And I see the results. A lot of this shit is just straight up common sense, cause and effect.
I'm allowed to say these things. I'm pointing out.
I'm allowed.
You have a right to petition.
It's the word of children and slaves. I'm allowed.
Address her and tell her that what she's done.
Yeah, you're allowed, but should you? That's the question.
And there's nothing wrong with
That's
that.
discernment. That's discretion.
Now, I'm paying the price for it right now. I'm a martyr to the cause of the First Amendment to have freedom of press. We have the right to film comp. They made a vague and capricious NRS code 192.190 that is so vague and so wide open that you can charge anybody with obstruction anytime you
I bet
want.
Charles loves this, really.
4 days in this dungeon until my appeal is heard. And you're allowed to petition that judge as well and say that she should immediately release me from jail and that this case should be overturned on appeal. You are allowed to petition the court. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not. It is not true. I'm leading in the proper way. Make sure that your petition is immaculate, that it's clean, that it's concise, that you identify yourself. Here's my name. Here's my address. I'm writing a petition.
You're such a bitch. You're already halfway through this fucking sentence, and you're going to keep whining and crying the whole way and trying to use worldly power and systems and other people's influence to get you out of what the fuck you're doing and creating. Why do you think this is why I can't come on here and fake nice, kind, and polite? Because I'm not a user grifter. I'm real with myself about what this dynamic is. Motherfuckers don't owe me anything. They owe it to themselves. So if I get locked up, I'm going to be looking for my audience to get me to fuck out. Quite the opposite. I'm going to accept the reality that I've already accepted that allows me to be real and authentic and present for all beings in truth without playing favorites and playing myself and everyone else and bullshitting like we're just one big family here all the time. We are, but we aren't. Because at the end of the day, again, we'll go to my father and my own family. We are, but we aren't. Because they're not my countrymen. They're fascist scum. They're cowards. They fed the beast that's going to drag me off. When I tell them to stand in rights and freedom and the law, they got excuses and reasons and feelers why they're not gonna. Yet I'm supposed to be loyal with and to them when they're not for the bigger cause and process. They don't even understand it and refuse to understand it.
Behalf of Chility Castro, he should not be in jail. He shouldn't have been put in jail. He should be released from jail. His case should be overturned on appeal.
Bullshit. You know, it should be happening. You should have 1,000 more. You got 500,000 subscribers. Why don't you, instead of grifting off them and playing the victim, why don't you motivate those bitch-ass motherfuckers like I do? You're all too scared to make an enemy out of the audience because they got your bread and butter, so you don't want to be real. Why don't you inspire all the other 500,000 you got on your channel, bitch-ass fucking cowards who want to pay their way through life but don't want to stand on rights and freedom and the law? Why don't you encourage them to stand up and stand out and join you in jail if that's what's meant to be? Come join me. That's what I do. That's the call I'm going to make if I ever have to go back in 180 or 360. I'm going to say, greetings, bitch-ass slaves. It's Uncle Paulie. And yeah, I love you. I love everybody, but I respect few. And I respect myself and the truth and rights in this land so much I'm sitting in jail. Where the fuck are you all at? Because if you respected yourselves and rights and freedom and the truth and the law of this land, you'd be sitting right here with me. Nah, you want to cry to them and victim. The jail's so bad. We didn't know we were going to go there. Get me out. Bullshit. This ain't going away. You can't pay your way out of this. You can't beg your way out of this. This is long game central. Lifetime after lifetime. You better get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Trying to play yourself and everyone else out of the true growth and level up and position and power and knowledge of self and fortitude. Give me a fucking break. You motherfuckers ain't real leaders. You're the type of leaders, when you get fucking caught at the concentration camp on the battlefield, you cry back to the embassy and the other people, come get me. Instead of sitting there and going, name, rank, serial number, that's all you're going to get. And I'll sit here for another fucking decade till my people come and take me the fuck up out of here and whoop everybody. You don't do that. And you want to call yourself a leader. Soon as you get captured, you want to cry to everybody else to get you out instead of inspiring everyone else to get deeper in. This is a forward escape. The way out is the way through. They just don't fucking get it. They don't want to get it.
There's nothing wrong with that. We are repeating history right now. We're doing the exact same thing that we did in 1917 and 1918 when Theodore Roosevelt and William Howard Taft split the vote, and then we got somebody in office that nobody wanted. 6 million people voted for Woodrow Wilson. 7.5 million people voted for Taft and Roosevelt. Roosevelt was one of the best leaders. Theodore Roosevelt was one of the best presidents we had in U.S. history. He did an amazing job. But remember, they didn't ever plan on Theodore Roosevelt becoming president. When William McKinley is reelected in 1900 after he was elected in 1896, in 1900, when William McKinley was reelected, he was shot and killed 6 months into the presidency. He had picked up Theodore Roosevelt as his running mate because they split the ticket so that North and South would vote for different people. When Theodore Roosevelt got into office, the big business people hated it. They hated it. It's crazy because Theodore Roosevelt and Franklin Delano Roosevelt are both related, 30 years apart in the presidency. But I'll tell you what, Theodore Roosevelt and Franklin Delano Roosevelt were two of the best presidents we have. They were for the people. They were for workers.
You fucking bozo clown. You fucking bozo, broken, childlike clown with FDR in a fucking wheelchair who's your daddy. You fucking moron. These are syphilitic, senilic, corporate fascist scum who present themselves fireside through your TV as your daddy. And you want to tell me about how they're all for the people. You are the biggest fucking, you can't really believe this. I hope this is some elaborate scam that the devil can respect you for just to grift on the dumb citizen slaves. You can't really believe this shit. Maybe you can because your daddy went to jail for selling cocaine. He wasn't in your life. You never had anyone to tell you Santa Claus ain't real. Boy. It's a fucking dupe. It's a game. It's an illusion. You're deluded. They're never for the people. They're for themselves and their profit and their people, just like you.
It's a game. It's a performance. Don't you get it?
They're never going to get it. They don't want to get it. And if they do get it, they realize the truth is less profitable than continuing to parrot the lies.
So why does anybody listen to this guy?
Because they're duped out, gullible, corrupt slaves just like him and don't want to get with the real truth in the program and what it's going to take to escape this fucking matrix dynamic.
Yeah, he's keeping them inside for sure.
He's their false pimp daddy. Why do you think I come on here with the dynamic I do? Pimp unslaved. I'm the real pimp daddy. I'm the one getting all the broken hoes up out of the stable. If you want a hoe, go do OnlyFans. You don't need a pimp daddy. You don't need a middleman. See, I'm the guy who makes it really unprofitable for all the other fake ass pimps. Cause I'm gonna get all the broken hoes up on the game to go make their own choices and decisions. And that's why they're always gonna love me and respect me, even if they don't like me. Because they realize I'm not here to continue the lie. I'm not here to grift on them. I'm not here to use and misuse them, the fact that they're gullible and wanting to serve something and don't know what. I'm gonna show you and help you out with what to serve. I'm gonna show you before I tell you. This is the reality of it. So you got to have somebody who's going to lead, guide, and protect in truth. It's not about me claiming to love you so much. I love the truth so much. And I realize the truth is the most profitable thing here with true value. Not in and of the world with fiat. Oh, no. With true value. The metaphysical value. Who and what we are, right? So by virtue of my understanding of that, I come here to tell it, not sell it. And I know, and I've seen through how the universe works, that value comes back for that, right? You can't keep a good man down, and you can't stop the blessings that are meant for a being who has a pure heart and is oriented toward truth or true enough and puts their own wants and desires and even needs aside at times. That is faithful service. You don't get fulfillment and completion here until you access that space of beingness. And if you want to tell me I'm not a faithful, godly person, whatever, because I'm not nice, kind, and polite. This was never about being nice, kind, and polite. The being you started a society off of, you say, was about love. The Prince of Peace said, I came to bring peace. I also came to bring division. I come with a care in my heart and a sword from my tongue. Sounds a lot like Paulie Boy. And the same dynamic was that the majority of folks, whether they were on the side of truth supposedly or on the side of the system, all did the same activities and cast him out for the same reasons, because he was about the truth. The rest of them were about continuing the lie and trying to profiteer off it from one side or the other. See, the Christed consciousness is bad for worldly people and bad for business. It's great for God and the true value, the true currency and energy, momentum and exchange. Lord Chris is here now. We got to get back to DeCastro. You need more DeCastro. He's a law scholar. He's constitutionally sound. He's a righteous, virtuous man. The rest of us, we're just selfish and greedy, and we just want to lie to the people and get stuff. That's his latest rap. You can't make this shit up, right? Tell me all about it, DeCastro. I was in a tent in a fucking truck for a year. Loved it, by the way. This is the paradox of living, is that you go, you think they all tell you that like living in a car in a tent is like demeaning and like a hard experience. And it's like, no, it's great. You have so little that weighs you down and burdens you and holds you back from being whoever and whatever you're meant to be. You got the world at your fingertips in a sense. Long as that's not your only option. If you have other options and you choose that, you're doing great in life. Right? The man who becomes truly inspired and empowered and co-creative has to cut his strings. His things and entitlement in life cannot own him, cannot restrict him and hold him back. If it does, he'll have to go to jail and cry for you to keep his business afloat and buy board games and shit like that. I want to die with some level of dignity, I guess. Call it ego. I want to go do my prison time and die with some fucking level of dignity and respect for myself and from others who see the vision. Who understand self, right? The real ones, if you will. Stay black, like they do on the street and in the game, right? That whole thing. Go ahead, John. You were saying something there.
This guy has a pretty big following. Chili. I mean,
Dude,
just wondering.
It's like saying Xerxes had a big following.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if he's playing the role.
Yeah, he's got millions. They got hundreds of thousands and millions of beta males with shaved heads who hang chains off their nipples.
So you think
there's no shortage of them. And then there's a Spartan 300, right?
It just seems, this whole thing seems pretty weird to me.
Seems pretty real to me. Did you say weird? Because it seems pretty real to me. Nothing weird about it. It's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's been like this from the beginning of time. Every passage of history reveals these inherent hierarchical power and value spiritual dynamics. You can't escape them. Xerxes and the millions of followers, the beta male, effeminate, false leaders, and then you got like a strong 300 Spartans who actually have an ethic, a logic, a morale, some type of vision for themselves and each other. They're unwavering in truth, and they're willing to like kill or die for what the fuck they know to be correct for them.
Yeah,
they're not willing to like submit to these beta male, effeminate game players in their system. It's not for us. This is all ordained in the womb. Do we have to quote Wizard now with his nonsense? Because it's all the same thing. I'm not saying it's nonsense, but like he'll repeat it over and over and never expound on it. I have the firsthand experience. The book just correlates it. I was formed in the womb for this shit. I don't understand it. I don't need to. I just need to know who and what I am and what I'm not from the beginning of time and ride with that. I don't have any memory being in the hospital, and they tell me memories about me not conforming, not complying, not obeying, not staying in the fucking incubator at 2 pounds, 8 weeks premature, ready to die. It's just, it's in you. It's not on you, around you, right? It's just part of that quote unquote Holy Spirit, I believe. And again, to a lot of these liars and fakes, that Holy Spirit may as well be demonic. It scares the living pants off them, right? Scares the living shit out of them.
Yeah, truth is stranger than fiction. Go ahead, John.
I was just thinking that this could possibly be a role to discourage First Amendment auditors. I just don't know. I mean, it just seems funky to me. That's all. Just giving my opinion.
Weren't the 300 gay? No, I believe it was the other way around. Xerxes and them were the out and out proponents. Not that this even matters. You took everything of what I just said and you brought it down to that level, but we could do that. Pretty sure it was exactly the opposite. Xerxes, as depicted in the movie, had chains hanging from his nipples and was running around in a man thong. So I think he got the history backwards. It was Xerxes and them who were known for the homosexual activity. It was the Spartans who had Spartan women who told them, get out there and fight and don't come back. So you got this a little bit backward, I think. But again, if you want to show me the history, I'm willing to look at it. I don't claim a monopoly on any of this stuff. I'm not an authority or an expert in any means. If anything, I'm a genius of myself. That's really all I need to be. You know, I'm not like the institutionalized beta males who claim to be experts and specialized in every field. No, I'm just a man. Great thing about being just a man is I'm made in the image of the Most High. If I let it be. I'm also made in the image of the Most Low. If I let it be. Greetings, Lewis.
Yeah, often it's one of those things that you could probably infer that it's a inversion going on with the history. They would do something.
You're so mean, Paul. Why are you so mean?
You know, and this is where then I get a bad reputation, because then they'll go, you guys are up here pretending to be alpha males, whatever that is. And, you know, Lou is like one of them. He's culted and he rides around town. The Ginzo that he is, with a NASCAR hat, Oakley's athletic version. He's never done athletic activity in his life, but he has athletic sunglasses like every other pig in or out of uniform. And then he's riding around with no shirt on. You know, this is not my people. I don't care if I was in the best shape ever like Wes Watson. I don't do broadcasts with no shirt on, and I don't ride around town with no shirt on. You got to have some fucking class in life, you know?
I just got in my truck because I was working and I haven't put my shirt on yet. I'm just on my way to do some shit.
You're grotesque.
Oh, suck my balls.
You know it and everyone else knows it. We love you as you are, but it is what it is.
Paul, it's funny that you brought up Wes Watson, because the past couple of days there's this video that's been making the rounds of him on stage.
That's why I brought it up. It's not funny. I brought it up because it's making the rounds. Do you want me to get to? We got to finish the Castro, then I'll get to it, and then we'll wrap up here. We still got some time.
1997 till 1937. The Lochner era of court, it actually goes back to
1860.
1896.
I'm an alpha male.
It's going to be Santa Barbara.
I'm a law scholar. I'm a real boy. Send me activism money for my lawyer to speak for me.
It's just so ridiculous. So
you're ridiculous.
Of the 14th Amendment
this is what it becomes.
We need another boat.
Protection under the law, and they abused it from 1897 to 1937. The only way the Lochner era ended.
Dude, I'm just gonna solve. Like, I'm not a ladies' man. I never have been. I don't claim to be. I don't need to be. The fact that I'm not is what gives me credibility and value in this conversation. This is why I've seen it from the other side. This is why most of you can't get any credibility or validation with women long term. Because they sit around you long enough to know you're completely full of shit and a punk ass coward, and you don't live your information, but they hear you talking it on the phone, doing business deals all day. They don't respect you. Every one of you who's like this, I guarantee you don't have one woman you can bring up to give a favorable report after the relationship is quote unquote over. They will not say anything respectable about you or honorable. They will not give any place where you've helped change their life for the better. They will only tell you as another fuckboy who was a waste of their fucking time, it took their goofy ass 5 to 10 years to realize you weren't about shit and move on to probably replicate it all over again. It's patented at this point.
Is when Franklin Delano Roosevelt got to office and passed the New Deal. Now, you may not agree with parts of the New Deal, but he broke up the monopoly of having absolute power over workers because he instituted an 8-hour workday for federal employees, and then that spread to other employees. And then I believe it was U.S. Steel Company was the first company that had to recognize that they had a union. And now what do we have unions for in our country? The most powerful unions in our country now are government unions, the police unions, the postal workers unions.
Is he doing Bolshevism now?
Unions for regular people.
Timmy, please.
They don't exist.
I'm mansplaining.
Where should the number one?
I'm mail-splaining.
In the UFC, the UFC fighters should have
Bolshevism, good.
because they don't have a collective bargaining Anthony Grant, like the
Bro,
NBA
this kid
and
had the
MLB.
balls to sit next to me in front of David Rodriguez and go, David, after I get kicked out of the room because my phone overheated. I was spitting so much fire, my fucking phone overheated. So I fucking drop out. He goes, David, you know we're alpha males. You boxed. I wrestled. We've been to war. But are we really going to stand for the law and rights and freedom and principles? I don't think so. We might lose stuff. And I go, this is your, like, these are the guys who you may even be able to beat me up. This is how crazy it is. Like, you'll go put me in a headlock and do some move on me. You practice rolling around with other men for thousands of hours. You'll get me like tied up in a pretzel and go, I win, alpha male. I go, not exactly. Because when we get up off this mat, even if I'm paralyzed, we're still all going to be in slavery and genocide.
Hold on a minute. Can we all sing "Oh Canada," please?
Oh my God. What's wrong with this idiot? Why do I even have him here?
Come on. I wanted you to sing "Oh Canada" to all the flags flying above the fucking room.
Seriously. I'm done with you.
Can't we just sing?
Can you just shut the fuck up and let me cook here, as they say? That's the new lingo on the streets. Just let me cook, man. I'm microwaving at this point. Beyond cooking. I'm blasting heat lasers at these folks. Common sense. Lou, please. You're disrupting. DJ screeching halt on the ones and twos. Oh, man. What was I saying, Christopher? Christos? Morgan? Someone? What was I saying?
I'm pretty sure you're about to segue into Wes Watson here in a couple seconds. You're talking about getting someone in a headlock, pretzel bullshit, the fake alpha male.
Oh, yeah. It's like equivalent to going, we're like, I'm the best at an eating contest. I'm an alpha male. We're all going to go eating contest right now. I'm going to beat everyone, and then I win, alpha male. Like, you're just doing contests of, like, strength or bravery or just skill, some test of skill. Like, we're back at the fucking Renaissance fair. Like, what's next? DeCastro's going to jump out with a jester outfit and throw an axe and go, I'm an alpha male because he gets a bullseye? Like, what are you talking about? There's one clear venue here of what we're doing here. It's not about you being a wrestler and David being a boxer in the ring. You guys act like this is the height of masculinity and challenge, right? Like, I'm surrounded by guys who want to kill me and bring me off to a box over and over again. And you're like, we get in the ring and put little trunks on and hit each other with pads on. I don't even get how it equates at all. Justin, who is this? Justin Houston? Distracted here. Let's go Phil on this one. Dr. P. Justin, Houston, Texas. How are you, sir? Do you want to wrestle me?
How you doing, man?
I'm an alpha male, dude. I just want to let you know from the gate, I will wrestle your ass.
Yeah, I'll take you up on the challenge, man.
You ever been put in a figure 4 leg lock? It's not pretty.
I can't say I have. You ever been put in a leech?
No. Is that where you suck me to death? I got a lot of folks in my life who use that move on me.
Ouchie.
All right, what's going on, bud? You're not going to do anything too wild and crazy here, right?
No, man. I just thought I would join in the chat, see what we're talking about today.
All right.
Hanging out.
I'll allow it.
Trying to burn some time at the office.
Ground and pound. Yeah.
You got anything or just more? You want more to Castro? He is an alpha male. He is a wrestler.
Yeah, I can't figure out DeCastro, man. The guy's definitely fallen over and hit his head a couple times.
I think he needs
when he
to
first
fall
came
over
out,
his
I thought
head.
honestly, I bought into the hype when he first came out. I thought it was really about something. I think where I lost paying attention to him when he called out some cops, he was going to fight them and do all this and rally up some kind of event, and then he came up with some excuse that he couldn't fight because of his knee, and that just kind of told me what kind of man he was, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, we're not in this to be like appealing to beating each other up and fighting and being physical specimens.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to show your strength and your honor, it's a metaphysical principle. I don't care how many people David Rodriguez or Alex Jones or anyone beat up in the streets or at middle school. I'm not interested. When you guys get to court, you sweat like that Golden Corral ham that they put the cinnamon on under the light, and you let other men talk for you, right? So I'm not interested in the rest of it. I contend if you're really going to talk that bullshit, I've been in those situations. When you show up to those situations, you have to be ready to kill or die.
Yeah, I agree.
So Like at that point, you're not proving anything by stepping in a ring or playing some test of skill in sport. If you're not ready to like put it all on the line in front of the whole world, you know, to me, street beefing and all that ain't that. Going to court over and over again and risking them smashing the gavel and taking you off and you not seeing freedom anymore. That's a real game we should start playing. Let's play that fucking game if you want to get competitive, because that's beneficial for all of us. Us beating each other up and playing schoolyard bully games to prove who's a bigger boy or not, that don't mean shit to anybody.
No, it doesn't. It honestly takes back any good that he has accomplished. He loses all that with his actions like that. He really does. Just takes it back 2 steps.
All right, let me finish this out here.
And they should have a collective bargaining agreement. So the government has continued to strip away and usurp power from the people, using everything they can to hurt us and work against our Bill of Rights. And so that's where we are right now. That's what I'm in right now. I'm in this horrible dungeon right now, and I'm dealing with this crap because I stood on my First Amendment rights, and now I'm in a dungeon. So I literally...
It's called being an activist. That's what you got paid to do, no?
First Amendment right to be present. Tomorrow, on May 23rd, 2024, we have a hearing in the district court. The hearing is about an enlargement of pages for the motion that...
Nah, I'm doing it different here. And the hearing's about the enlargement of your prostate, because I think that your bunkie is banging you back there. All right. So this is the problem, John. This is why we're a bit deviant, right? We have the deviant mind. We're uncivilized here. We're not like the rest of them. The reality is I guess I'm just so sick and fucked up that the whole time that folks like have been contributing and supporting in various ways, I don't like to get too specific, but in my mind, I go, pretty much, Paulie boy, what this is they're paying you to go to jail at some point. Like in his mind, he's just going to go sell books, trifolds, board games, buy houses like all the rest of them, and never go to jail. I'm like, I don't even have 1/10 of what you guys have. Yet in my mind, I go, whatever has come forth and meant to be for me by doing this, I can't stop now. Folks are essentially contributing for you to be who you say you are and continue on the journey. And then they're like, no, we want to ride the middle. That's how fucked up and sick I am, where I live every day going, whatever it is that comes forth I'm meant to have by whatever it is that I do, that I'm known for certain things I live, I almost expect to have to put up on that at some point and deal with consequences or sacrifice. I almost wait for it to a point where it's unhealthy, right? I start to wonder, am I going to manifest something for myself? Because I don't sit around in a false sense of security and act like I'm different people. I go, if you're going to live this shit, talk this shit, people are going to see value in you and give value. You damn sure better stand on it when the time comes. If not, what the fuck was this all for?
Exactly.
And what are you going to think about yourself, and what are they going to think about you when the time comes? I can't believe these motherfuckers have the balls to come back and ask for more after everything they've been given that they squander and embarrass themselves with. They got some fucking arrogance.
Chris Orem filed. When you file a appeal brief, it's supposed to be 10 pages. This appeal brief that we filed is 29 pages. So immediately upon filing the brief, Chris Orem filed to have a motion heard about it. Now, as of this moment, the district attorney's office has not opposed the enlargement of pages. So it looks like tomorrow's motion hearing should go smoothly. I will be in court tomorrow. I know the cameras will be there. So it's always a lot of pressure when they bring you into a courtroom in chains. It is a humiliating, despicable process that we are still using from the slavery era, where they chain you up as though you are some sort of homicidal killer. All they would have to do is move the bailiff station between the judge and the defendant to ensure the safety of the judge and the jury. That's all that they would have to do. But instead of that, they put us all in torture cuffs. The process of going to the hearing tomorrow, of going to that hearing, going to the appeal motion hearing tomorrow is going to be absolutely horrible for me. I'll get up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. They put me in chains. They take me down to a holding cell where there's 80 men in a room that's supposed to hold 40. Everybody's extraordinarily loud and everybody's chained up from head to toe. It's going to be a miserable process for me. It's absolutely the height of it.
And this is where, again, I could say I'm fucked up and sick, and maybe I have been in the past, but I don't think I am, if not like I was at all. And you know, I'd have to look at it more, but the reality of it is, bro, you just manifested your own destiny again. Like, while I could say I contemplate on my responsibility and obligation to this broadcast, to God, to the truth, to the people, to the contributors, right? It's like, do you think that I would sit there and manifest that if I did go to jail, that it would be a miserable, horrible experience? Like, nah, I'm going to go, regardless of whatever the fuck's going on tomorrow when I get up, we're going to go down there and I'm going to put the facts on record. I'm going to put who and what I am in my conviction on record. And I'm going to surrender the rest in faith. You want to lock me up and chain me up with all this? Great. We'll do a great performance tomorrow. Because I'm going to make them feel me one way or the other. That's all that we got here. Got to make them feel me. Based in the truth that we can all resonate with and bond over. So I would never manifest a result for myself that tomorrow and then double and triple down and it's going to be horrible and miserable and I'm a failure and I'm a loser. And this is the thing. You talk all this shit, but I can tell by the way you speak, you don't believe in you and what the fuck you're doing. You're not manifesting your own destiny. You're not a man of faith. How is anyone else going to really ride with you and believe in you when you can't keep the morale high? Right? That's the whole point of this walk, is when we're tested and challenged, we go through it like the Christ of being. And we can have moments of doubt, but we're here to keep the truth in the faith. And we're here to surrender that God and the universe and whatever's true and what's right here is what backs us and protects us. If not, then all is lost for everybody anyway. Lock me the fuck up. There's no point being here at that point anyway. So that's the game. You got to get real comfortable with the uncomfortable. So much so you get real faithful. And then you learn to surrender to keep your peace and not go out of your mind. Imagine if you had to do 10 fucking years. You know, I don't want to have to consider it, but that's a reality. Imagine if you were locked up in there for 10 years. You're going to jump on the phone every 5 fucking minutes. You're going to cry how bad and miserable it is. You're going to focus on the outer world and all this other excess nonsense and bullshit. Or you're going to get right and get real with yourself and start to grow and level up and become something and come out of that motherfucker better than you went in. If not, you're going to fold. And that time is going to do you.
Despotic government, when you put everybody in chains, like we're all Kunta Kinte from 1850, I feel like the Fugitive Slave Act is right back into motion today. So that's just the update of what's going on in the legal proceedings. I cannot be released tomorrow. There's no chance the judge will release me tomorrow. The earliest date I can be released from this dungeon is July 10th, 2024. I want to say thank you to everybody who sent me iCare gifts. There's icaregifts.com. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Everybody who's contributed or donated to my GoFundMes, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. It means the world to me. You guys covered 90% of my legal costs. I really appreciate it. Today is May 22nd, 2024. This is Chili Castro. This is my daily journalistic update from the dungeon.
It's bullshit, bro. I'm ending it right there. You ain't thankful and grateful. You got too much for too long to the point where you're numb to it. I know, because I live thankful and grateful. When you're thankful and grateful, you wouldn't even dare to come to this fucking audience and this platform with all them people you got play this fucking game. You were really thankful and grateful for all the value you've been given too much for too long. You put all your time, energy, and attention into showing up for yourself and others in a different way that worked for you and others. And you go into introspection and reflection if you had to. And I contend when you go to jail, that's the time for that. So I'm not buying it, man. And you could say I'm hating and all the rest of it. I'm jealous, whatever. I got everything I need and then some. I'd rather be me than be him. I don't care if he had $1 billion fucking dollars and was governor of every state. It's meaningless to me. What you don't have is self-respect, credibility, and integrity. And I don't care if you have 500,000 cattle-like slaves who say you do, because odds are they don't have it, so they can't be a judge of it. Your thoughts, expert panel? On people bullshitting themselves and everyone in everybody's face constantly like there's no consequences and motherfucker can't know your heart just like God does.
It's a pity hustle. I'm surprised.
That's why I think it might be bullshit, because he hasn't been a man about this at all. He got himself arrested. I mean, thrown in jail in the courtroom for being a child, basically. And then just his description of his experience has been, the fear of how bad it is there, and people are getting beat up and whatever
John,
else.
You saw me pop out of Pocosa Springs jail after sitting there for whatever it was, 3-4 days. They had everything that I owned in that car taken away. I didn't have anything on me, right? So did I fucking get on the internet and start whining and crying?
That's my point.
Or did I fucking walk across the street to the motel and have a conversation with someone who, you want to see how God works? goes, wait a second. I didn't even tell him nothing about YouTube or nothing. He goes, aren't you on YouTube? So then we start having that conversation. He pulls up the video of me. Who's whispering? Is Timmy, is that you? Are you trying to whisper sweet nothings to me? Who's whispering?
I think Morgan's low.
I don't know what he's doing. He's killing me here. Help me out, Morgan, please. But yeah, man, you know, I didn't get on the internet and start whining, crying, and playing the victim. I accepted that this is what I chose. It chose me back, and this is what's meant for me, and I have to love my fate. And by me staying in that position, I swear I've seen so many fucking synchronicities, it's blinding to remind me of what to do and be and not do and be. This is why you guys are clutching and scrapping and scraping. You've never seen the synchronicity, the blessings, the grace, and how the universe will literally form around you. It's enough to turn someone into a schizophrenic if you're not going to characterize me as one, because that's usually the rap you'll get. So I walk across the street from Pocosa Street with nothing and nowhere to go and no way to get it, right? And this guy goes, aren't you on YouTube in the middle of nowhere? And he's like one of two people who said that to me out of years at this point, right? He goes, what just happened? Oh, I went to jail, whatever else. He gives me the money to stay at the motel for the night. I didn't ask him. I didn't tell him nothing. He knew somehow, right? And then he gave it to me. So I gave it back to him, the next day or a few days later when I got my situation together, right? Nowhere in this situation did it require begging, lying, trying to play games with everybody, right? And then how many of you motherfuckers along the way, you got folks doing for you and caring for you, and then you don't even look out for them later? Seen that over and over again. So, right. So this dude said to me, he even said to me, I could tell by the look in his eyes, this is a regular blue collar guy. He's a business owner, contractor guy. He's got 3 or 4 other guys working for him there. He's got a pocket full of cash, but he's got drug history, right? And a bunch of other stuff going on. And he said to me, bro, he goes, I really like what you're doing and what you're about. Don't even worry about it. Because I told him, I'll give you the money back. He goes, don't even worry about it. Because I could tell by the look in his eyes, he'd been burned and fucked over so many times. He didn't even want me to lie to him. He goes, don't even lie to me, bro, because I'm going to give it to you and you're going to say you're going to give it back and not. I gave it back to him and extra, just as a show of good faith. Hey, bro, you looked out for me. I didn't ask for it. You know, you didn't even ask for it back. You weren't going to take it back. I made sure I sent it back to him with a little bit extra to show him that there's still motherfuckers out here who operate on trust and good faith and equity, right? So it's the little things, man. It's the little things in life, the little events, the little quote unquote miracles, the little gestures of good faith and trust and honorability. That shit'll get you far, and that's the shit that oftentimes goes so overlooked in these venues with these folks who got so much and so many plans and they're so important.
Does it get you as far as the evildoers, Paul? Not in the material world I'm talking about.
Listen, bro, because I'm sitting there and I go, it doesn't matter if he wants it back or not. If I come across the street and bump into 1 out of 2 people in 5 years who know me and come out of their pocket to make sure I have somewhere to be for the night, God's working. And if I don't get that fucking money back to him and then some, it's going to be on me. Right. And we don't live like that most of our life. I didn't. I lived on some, everything's a coincidence. Everything's random. Everyone's individual. Everyone's different. It's bullshit. It's all connected somehow, some way. Everyone gets what they need somehow, some way. What you put in is what you get back somehow, some way. They'll tell me life is not fair. I say I could argue it's very fair in certain ways. Oh, well, why does God let the babies? You got free choice. I'm going to stop you right there. You guys want to toxify this environment in your body politic and then give birth to babies and wonder why God lets them be retarded so you can fucking learn what to do and not do, stupid, simple motherfucker. Like God's supposed to come down and stop everybody from having free choice so they can learn through firsthand experience what to do and not do. That would defeat the purpose of even being here. So, stop worrying about God doing it for you and start worrying about, again, like I say, most folks want to use the system and use God. Why don't you figure out how the system and God can use you? And then maybe everything will come into alignment. That's what I've experienced. Pretty sure John Kennedy told you that before he fucking blew his head off. Convinced everyone it was, Lee Harvey. We know better. We believe we know better. The evidence shows something different, obviously.
Yeah, and it was just yesterday, Paul, that I dropped a live chat comment in someone's stream because they were talking about money, borrowing money, and paying people back, and just the exact important principle of getting people back, even if they're not hitting you up for it. That does matter, and it does come around. So it's funny you were just talking about synchronicities, because just discussing that exact thing with money yesterday.
A few years ago, I sent a guy a check. He loaned me $100 back, probably in the late 70s. And I remembered it. And just a few years ago, I sent him a check for the money back.
Yeah, bro, you want to be free of all debts and entanglements and bondage and vice, right? There's nothing free in this world. Everything comes as a price and a final cost. You don't want that shit hanging off you. You know, that's how you get truly caring and loving and truly free. It's by not having any entitlements, not having any bondage, vice, not having any debt in your life. It's freeing. It's enlightening.
Allows you to sleep.
The only reason a motherfucker typically subconsciously gets into debt, bondage, and vice is because they're insecure and they don't see opportunity and blessing. They see impediment and problems with no solutions. So it leads them to go deeper and deeper into fucking debt instead of getting more and more industrious, co-creative, and create whatever it is or embody whatever it is that they wish to draw in or create or manifest. You know, you become that, you live that, and it shows up. Nah, I'm not worthy enough. I'm not valuable enough. How am I going to do that? Like my father said, how are you going to do a broadcast and make a living? You got to sell bullshit products like Bill O'Reilly. No, that's you. That's you and your fucked up generation that wants to pretend that we don't have any inherent hierarchical power and value here. I don't have to sell meaningless, bullshit, valueless products in order to be seen as valuable. The truth is going to do that for me, dummy. They can't see the vision. Like, how are you going to make a living? Who's going to support you and give you value for value? If you give truth to a bunch of motherfuckers living a lie and it frees them and it changes their life, you don't think there's value in that? Are you really this fucking low-level consciousness and short-sighted? It's exactly the opposite. If you got more knowledge yourself and you gave that away and changed people's life, there's a good chance they're always going to look at you in the balance book at some point, especially if they come up. What do we owe the doctor for giving us poison pills? Oh, $10,000. What do we owe the lawyer for bullshitting the court and making us plead and say we're guilty? Oh, another $20,000. What do we owe Paulie Boy for freeing us from our own self-imposed mind control and heart control and slavery? Invaluable. I'm going to trade one position and what's meant for me, good, bad, or indifferent, to go put on a costume, bullshit myself and everyone else for a limited check? And entitlement and salary? That's the low-level, worldly, infidel slaves' consciousness. And they think they're doing something. They think I'm the fool. They think I'm poor and broke. Even if I was in pockets, I'm more rich in spirit than you'll ever be. I'm more free and caring and truthful and honorable than you'll ever be. One of the prerequisites of joining this system and working in these places is being a dishonorable infidel who's willing to bullshit yourself and everyone else. You got to be that in order to make it. Governor De Castro, give me a fucking break. Give God a break and give the devil a break, more importantly. The devil's been working overtime. That motherfucker must need a break.
He favors him.
Motherfuckers are serving and working overtime with the devil so much, it's got to need a break. Well, where do we go with this, gentlemen? I guess.
I normally.
What did I have here? Got a couple other things. Let me see. Oh yeah, let's get to the Watson thing. Apparently everybody's up on Watson, you know, because fresh and fit's like a big thing now. All the MGTOW alpha males like finally figured out that they like, you know, got the spirit of their mama and they're like, you know, children of the lie and the devil. You know, now they're all like hateful and resentful over women and aspects of themselves. So they're all like stomping around, you know, telling the internet how to be better men. And when you ask them where their value systems and principles are, everyone goes silent, right? When you ask them why they're all like following misleaders and corrupt fascist scum and emulating them, everyone goes silent. You know, when you say you guys are big and bad and tattooed out and got like $10 billion in the room right now, but you're all subject to statute, policy, and code, you're all a bunch of hoes and bitches. They all go quiet. Or they say, that's just a sob-sit lowlife. Someone get him out of here. He wasn't invited. I go, okay, I'll see my way out. You don't have to throw me out. I get it. Truth is not wanted in most quarters of the land, right? Mm-hmm. Frowned upon. That's the one commonality you got in all circles, all places, is reality is frowned upon. Left, right, center, all over, folks would just prefer to make up their own version of reality and live in that, regardless of the consequences.
Look at what it was yesterday or the day before. I was listening to what you were playing on DeCastro, and he was describing something about the illegitimacy of the legal system or whatever, and he was using an analogy of a comet coming in to destroy the Earth to describe what he was. I mean, it's insanity describing insanity. This is the fucking world.
It's like arguing with a bitch. I don't mean to be. It could be male or female, but you when you argue with a bitch, you never get anywhere because they argue from emotions and false authority. You never argue with the facts and what it is or what it's going to be, and what it was through recognition and understanding. Right? It's like how does you hiring an attorney make you a constitutional law scholar? It doesn't, but you won't focus on that because you got feelings about how it shouldn't be that. Okay. And then it's like, what does it matter what you think about a comet or even legal lawful when, again, it's just about levels of consciousness. You're dealing with an economic system that's built to fail, that they locked you down the last 4 years in order to print up more money to give you stimulus and convince you they're helping while they're coordinating a economic collapse to go over to a new currency system the same way they did during the Great Depression. There's so many levels to this. And these tards are just running around going, thanks for the last 50,000. I'm going to give it to my attorney to speak for me at court. And I'm like, you fucking retard. The prophecy's already been put down. The founder said America's going to last 250 years. It's going to be destroyed from within by corporate takeover and infidels. That's the synopsis of what they said. We got 4 years left on that. I don't believe in coincidences. You'll be lucky if we do another 4 years and don't see extreme economic collapse, proliferation of world war, and civil war under the fog of world war. It's all coming into view. We're not theorizing here. This is history. If you don't know history, you're going to repeat it. You don't know history. The last 4 years proved it because you let fascism rule the day rather than God, what's true and what's right, and faith. You let your fear run the show, and now the devil's onto you. And it's coming for everything next, dummies. This is a spiritual realm and dynamic. You can't escape self and the truth. It's only going to come in more and more till you get the fucking picture. That's the point of a dark age, light age cycle.
The toilet paper was the first test.
I can see that.
The whole great, amazing part about this that frees you up, because it sounds scary. You realize you don't have that much control. You only can control yourself and what extends off you. That's so freeing. I can't stop this world from doing what it's always done. I don't have to. I have to stop me from doing what the world has always done because I'm in it, but not of it. It's all we're all tasked here to do on every level, and it's way easier said than done as a practice because we're like in this bondage, addiction, vice with everything that takes us down. We're self-sabotagers as a race. I know that because I know that about me. How are we going to get rights, freedom, and principles? Letting Joe Biden and Donald Trump run the corporation. Hello? Self-sabotage 101, and you're claiming it's the way out? Let the inmates run the asylum? That's how everything's going to get better? We need more enforcement, right? We need more, they're gonna elect Trump again, right? Folks like my father and other Republicards, because it's the best of a bad lot, right? They do this lesser of evils thing because they're mind and heart controlled. Got to pick them lesser of evils. Can't stand Joe Biden getting in again. They just can't imagine it's all going to one point. It's already prophesied. It's already going to happen. The only thing that's not prophesied and 100% is what you're going to do and not do. That's the radical element here. The human element. The history is going to repeat. It's going to rhyme. The preponderance of folks are going to go along to get along. And then there are some folks who are going to inherit the earth. Like the scripture says, the meek shall inherit the earth. That doesn't mean weak and cowardly. That means we got in our fucking lane at some point and realized we don't have any control over anything more than what we have control over. We've surrendered the rest. And you're not going to control us. So we will inherit the earth one way or another. The rest of you folks are going to get slaved out and genocided out and all the rest of it. Even if you make it here in this realm, there's going to be no place for you. We're either going to inherit this kingdom or we're going to be long gone and on to the next experience. It's just the way it's going to go. The rest of you punk ass, two-faced, go along to get along, nice, kind, polite cowards will be here, and you'll suffer and you'll slave and you'll serve the devil and that kingdom, and you'll just get to love it, right? You'll love your servitude just like you already have, casting people like me out of the home and out of your families and out of your corporate institutions for daring to tell the truth. We know how this goes. I love it. I think it's a great simulation.
It's been written.
Like, I go, how are they going to get my fat, procrastinating, lazy, worldly, nihilistic, cultured, slaved out ass to do and be something different? Just trial by fire me with the devil? It's perfect. I know me, so I know the rest of them. I've been the lowest of the low. If it applies to me, it definitely applies to everyone else up the chain. They're just behind the curve.
If
the
you were
lower
born,
you are, the quicker you get access to this thing. The more middle class you are, the longer it takes for you to realize you ain't in control. And what you are in control of, you've given over and given up.
If you were born with a silver spoon, would you be Paul enslaved today?
I essentially, in a way, was born with a silver spoon. I mean, compared to the way other folks had it, who I grew up around, I never wanted for food, man. I always had clothes. I always had everything that I needed physically. I had a nice house, you know. It's essentially like being born to Jack Talcott. You know, you got a silver spoon that you're born with, but you got leaders, guides, and protectors who are lead consciousness. And you could say lead as a metal or lead as a follower. It works either way. You know, so what good is a silver spoon when, you know, you don't have a sort of a golden age or beings of golden values who are leading, guiding, protecting, revealing, are authentic, honorable, and accountable and presentable. If anything, that's exactly what we needed. I needed to be selfish and spoiled in a certain way on material things. It made me a person where I watched what they all did and what they got and how it didn't mean nothing. So now I'm a person where even if I don't want to work and I don't like working, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it because I love to do it and I want to do it and I see the value in it. I'm not just going to do it to get more money, to get things. So again, they tell the story about the Buddha or Aristotle, folks like that, philosophers in their own right. We're born with a silver spoon to folks who didn't have the truth or didn't care to know the truth. And that's what made them who and what they are on this path, because you have to renounce all materialism. It doesn't mean that I say that you shouldn't work and you shouldn't save and you shouldn't invest and build something for yourself and your future. There's a middle ground. But you can't let the things that you're creating or co-creating in life own you and twist up your principles and value system. So in order for me to not be owned by the things in life that come to me that are meant for me or things that I work for and create, I almost have to be born in a world of materialism with silver spoon and be spoiled to material things. It don't mean nothing to me. You know how many years we had a fucking tree with a bunch of shit under it, and the fucking inside of me was completely fucked, and the house was completely fucked in the energy and the dynamic. The tree and the fucking the glitz and the glamour and the presence and all the bullshit didn't make up for all the pain and all the disconnection and the lack of understanding and communication and actualization and realization and all the rest.
That's true.
Right. So that's the reality we come to, I would think, as parents at some point, is they need us and the truth and what we're here to bring as people more than they need the fucking things. So my father would always say, you know, you're spoiled, Paul. You don't appreciate these things. I'm not supposed to appreciate these fucking physical manifestations of value. We're supposed to appreciate ourselves and each other and what we're here to represent and be and do. That's the true value. That's the true American value system that you motherfuckers gave away for consumerism. Give me that bullshit like that's a negative thing because I'm not worldly and shallow and materialistic and cultured. And even if I was, I saw early on how it was no value to me. It was a detriment to me and everyone else around me because they kept pointing to the symbols of value, but weren't embodying that and creating that truly. Now you folks want to wake up in a consumer society. You're completely slaved out and genocided. You got no personal choice. Tell me all about how I don't appreciate what you think is value in life when you've ignored the true value and lost it all. Who was right in the end? It's not about even being right. It's about correcting this fucking dysfunction. You know?
bro, that fucking tree and all that stuff, that shit made it so much worse. Like it would have just been better if all that shit was just gone.
It was an insult. It was a fucking insult to everybody's intelligence and spirit. Go ahead, sir. It's just that, I got a bit emotional thinking back to it. But you're on it again, Timmy, because we're 1-1. Go ahead, take over.
Yeah, no, you brought me there because it's like that shit just made it worse. Every fucking year after year, the same tree, the same bullshit traditions that nobody even knows why it's a tradition anymore. The fucking
crazy
food.
shit parents had to go through to try and find the things their kids wanted or children wanted.
The bullshit presents.
Yeah,
the non-presents. PRE with the C at the end, right? Presence in time. No, not that. The bullshit material. Just more distraction, right? That's what the concrete Buddha is, right? The concrete Buddha is it used to be a golden Buddha statue because it's the representation of us as the golden consciousness, and then it becomes concrete. It becomes rusted over time, and the people forgot that there's a golden statue under it. That's the same thing with this fucking material bullshit. And again, material isn't bad. It's just used as a hoarder, just block distraction of
it's a supplement. They like to supplement. See, the difference is when motherfuckers in doing what we do here, when they contribute or give me value in certain ways, I'm ultra thankful and grateful because it's not an empty gesture, right? This is coming from people who resonate with me and are loyal with me to something bigger and beyond the everyday bullshit and the lie, right? So you really can't be thankful and grateful when you get an empty gift from an empty person who you don't respect and don't resonate with and don't live a lifestyle where you have some loyalty and value, right? It's a false gesture as far as I'm concerned. The same way these folks who all police each other to give cards on everybody's birthday and all the rest of it. You want me to send you a card when I don't respect you? And you don't respect yourself and the truth? What game are we playing here? You want empty gestures when you know what the fuck I think about you, and you know what you think about yourself, you know what you've done and not done, and what you won't do, because you're a fucking coward, what you won't get right with, but I'm supposed to send you a Hallmark card and spend the $5 to give you a supplemental version of value and sentiment? This is a sterilized consumerist culture.
That's the world.
There's no essence. When they told you and locked you down and said you're non-essential, they were not lying. You don't even care about the essence of being a human being and true care and the sentiment and all the rest of it, the principles, the values. Just send the Hallmark card. Just make sure everything's in its fucking place the way we want it to be, even though everything's out of place everywhere else where we need it to be.
Wow, you're on point, man. That makes a lot of sense.
Right on the money.
Yeah. I mean, damn.
There's nothing like redemption in the end of this, bro. Again, I'd rather be right than president, but I'd rather make it right than be right. They don't want to make it right either. So I spent decades at a table with a family who was a non-family, who won't adhere to any values and principles. Right? And now over the last 4 years, some of them want to start to wake up and realize what the fuck I was talking about. And they still want to make excuses and justifications and play fucking power games. They just don't get it yet. We're going to need another 4 years. Someone phone Shaitan and tell him we're going to need another 4 years of self-chosen genocide, slavery, and suffering to really humble these motherfuckers and stop telling me all my life to humble me in the face of truth. Just like your boy Charles did a few moments ago or an hour ago, whatever it was. They all want to humble Paulie Boy and shut him up. They all want to stop him from talking because he's pointing to him to a truth that is making it difficult for them to reconcile the lie they keep fucking living and their cowardice. And I'm done with it. You humble your motherfucking self before the truth and creation and creative force. It might be working through me. If it's not working through you, it might be working through me. I want to believe it's working through all of us. Go to Fresh and Fit, Alpha Males, tries and fails to intimidate man. It's Wes Watson. I told you I had an interaction with him. Folks saw it here at some point. He treated me like I was some kind of desperate customer, like he was important and famous. I wanted to talk truth with him because I resonated over the values and principles in what he spoke. He told me, it's going to cost you $10,000 for me to show up on panel. I said, bro, you got the wrong one. I don't know. You think I'm some fucking upstart who's not going to grind it out and do whatever I'm going to do here and take what's meant for me? I need to give you $10,000 to come on with your big name and get a fake audience drawn to you. and your clout and your name. I don't even need that. Right? So he failed. These folks don't realize you're in the room with me. I'm not in the room with you. You're going to pay me $10,000 to go on record on this broadcast as an honorable, faithful man who lives your information. You did the opposite. Great job, champ. This is the thing. The scripture will tell you, be careful when you entertain men and women of the earth, right? You may be entertaining angels unaware. Take that for how you will. So when you want to treat motherfuckers like lowly scum who need you, when they're there for a different purpose to get us all on record in faith and to inspire and motivate and empower and co-create, you just created a problem for yourself karmically. This is what they don't understand.
Did you speak to him live or through email?
I was live on the broadcast, and he was texting me through Instagram.
Oh, because I was going to say, because you could hear things in their voice too if you were talking to them.
Yeah, bro. He just completely ignored what I was saying back to him. Kept sending me a price list. Treat me like some kind of trick. Like, bro, I got my own thing going here. You could say it's small, it's not as big as yours, and all that. I got my own thing going here. I don't need you. It's not about that. We're here for the same common bond of values and principles. If we're not, well, then you just expose yourself. You're fucking greedy and money hungry. First of all, that's the same motherfucker who was crying on his broadcast at one point in the beginning, like they all do. I'm here for the people. I'm here for you. Well, if that's the case, you'd have looked at a lowly motherfucker like me and said, this motherfucker's got some heart. He shows up 500 days straight. He's really about it. I'm going to show up on the strength of it. If you were really about the truth and the people, it's called pay it forward. Everyone in prison who's done prison time knows that. You look out for a motherfucker when they first come in, when they ain't got shit.
But he sees you as competition then, and probably good competition. That's why he wouldn't do that. But
no, they see everybody as dollar signs. They start to turn the whole world into a commodity and a business interaction and a transactional experience.
He's just become another corporate exec. That's all he is. Sees everybody as a consumer now. How do I make money off you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, bro. If I want to promote and market, and you're going to charge me $10,000 to get basically a replication of me in a different form, it's not even that good. If I'm going to spend money, I'll go take $1,000, like I said before, and I'll go get 5 stripper hoes, and I'll put them on camera, and we can really market and promote. And they're no names, right? So I'll get all the credit. If we're going to play this worldly strategic marketing promotion game, I'll spend 1/10. I'll bring on 5 goofy bitches. I'll create a whole controversy and conversation. We'll get back down to truth at some point and interpersonal dynamics, psychology, sociology, and it'll be a great time. And it'll be all the things, right? If I'm going to do that, if I'm going to trick, right, I'll just go give them $200 a piece. Hey, girls, take the rest of the night off. You're coming with me. We're going to do a 2-hour broadcast. I'll go emulate Fresh and Fit and be like these fucking punk cowards. I actually got something to say. I actually got a real experience. I actually have taken women with little to nothing at all physically to a different position in their life through their conscious and awareness to do and be better for themselves. I put them on, essentially. You want to get in a room with money you got off streaming and fake audiences and go, I'm the man now. I got $10 million. I got a house and a boat. So I'm a man and I'm an alpha and I'm going to tell women how to be. You can't put a bitch on in any shape, form, or fashion other than be a circus show freak. Well, I could do the same thing, right? If I was playing like that, and I'm not. Maybe at some point I might decide to, with full disclosure, so nobody's like, deceived.
And bro, and then you got Fat and Stale, these 2 guys that are saying we're loyal to each other no matter what. We're loyal to each other because we're friends. And then you got this motherfucker Myron is like, I'm loyal to Fresh no matter what. So these motherfuckers are just loyal based on nothing. Right? They're not loyal based on any code. It's just whatever he does.
Because they became an act and they're making money for each other, like every other group out here, Hollywood or not. They're loyal to each other. They're down for everything because they're making each other money. Soon as that money dries up, they're going to start to realize they're not bonded in anything beyond the worldly experience. It's the same thing drug addicts do. You ever meet a group of drug addicts? They fight, bleed together, go to prison. They go through everything. Soon as the drugs go away, they don't hang out no more. You don't see them out together. They all realize in one moment it was the drugs that had them all there together to begin with. You think there's any difference between addiction to drugs and addiction to getting money? It's still an addiction.
Yeah.
Go ask all the inauthentic corporate males if they weren't making money with their buddies and their peers, if they'd actually hang around them and be around them. Probably not. You might find a lot of inauthentic corporate males listening to Paulie Boy smoke weed and be fat online. Figure that out.
It's true.
Yeah.
The key is, like you said, man, a code of honor, a code of respect, some kind of principles and value system that binds everybody together. That's the true loyalty. You're loyal to each other for what you got or what you're getting. Well, then when you ain't, you're not. And that's a shitty position to be in. That's a shitty group to be part of.
You're right. I never mentioned it before because it's just another notch on the belt. But bro, what you're saying is 100% true. Like a group I was running, I was basically the number 2 guy in one of these business groups. And since from 2020 to 2022, I just was basically fighting with the founder for 2 fucking years because he wanted to keep pushing the medication. I just kept fighting him with it. And then I just had to basically just step out of that group. And nearly 99% of the people in there that was always buddy with me, always like, oh yeah, this guy gets it. I made them tons of money. After I stepped out, I just stepped back and said, yo, fuck this. I'm not I can't be, I can't just be silent around this bullshit. I'm not going to be silently accepting this. I don't hear from 99% of those motherfuckers anymore. But it's great. I don't give a fuck.
Now you're here with me. Freed yourself up, right? This is what pathetic warriors tried to figure out, couldn't figure out. He's half in, half out, right? When you start to get back to who and what you all truly are, you're going to find yourself more and more either by yourself or in places like this with people like me that you never thought you'd be around, right? That's again, this is how God works indirectly in mysterious ways. So you got a lot of folks who are from the corporate world. They're type A people. They maybe don't use drugs and alcohol, right? They don't smoke reefer. They don't necessarily have a history, a broken home or whatever else, but somehow, some way they're led back to a place like this because still the same thing applies to them when it comes to the values and principles. I just got it quicker and earlier because I did everything wrong from everything wrong. Oftentimes, these folks don't get it till way later in life because they've had a padded existence from reality. They've had the mommy and daddy there pretending. They've had the money system they think is real. They've had the corporate ladder they've been climbing to achievement and to results, at least in physical form. Only till certain events start to happen on the macro level do they get back to a micro analysis of who and what they are, what they've been serving and living into. And they find themselves in places like this with folks like me who have gotten it earlier on and got a handle on it and have done something different, whatever that is. Right. So it's not by accident. It's just proof of a good mapping and concept and an inherent objective reality we're all experiencing and coming to know. That's kind of what's fascinating about this is God chooses the least among us to be prophet, to bring everybody else back to what they haven't looked at because they've been in and of the world for too long. They've had too many other distractions and things to do and be, they think, right? So someone like me, it confuses them because they're like, why would I listen to you? I have more in every way in these other ways than you have. And I go, yeah, but you're missing these things, right? And that's the game of this cosmos, is we're actually here in a way to become more like each other. I had to become more type A. I had to become more in the world and active. I had to get up and get out. Right? I had to become more like my father. My father had to become more like me in certain ways. So it's a value exchange. It's an energy exchange.
Yeah, just like genetics.
That's the thing about it, man. We could take something from everybody. The inauthentic, quote unquote, corporate male like my father taught me in a way, surrender and sacrifice and I don't want to say suffrage is in a positive sense, but to watch my father get up every day and to go to work to make money, right? It put something in me to look at later. I just had to realize you got to get up every day in order to make your life. It's not about making money. Money and value is going to come with that some way, somehow, right? You got to make yourself and make your life. And then through that, the value comes back. I've experienced that. So, again, I was somebody who, like I say, very Talcottian. I didn't want to work. Oh, I don't have to work. You know, I'm going to sit around and smoke dope and not do or be or create anything, and somehow it's all going to fall in my lap. You know, so yeah, he had to come more in line with authentic values and principles, and I had to come more in line with, you know, while I'm in the world and not of it, you still have to do and be and create here to get and have. You know, so it's like we always come back to a middle ground if we really observe ourselves and each other and where we're strong and where we're weak.
That's a very narrow gate.
That's the perfect human if you look at it. Like maybe that sounds whatever. That's just a crazy thing to say. But if we could get past our personality disorder and our dysfunction, the way I see it is the archetypal man is exactly the conglomeration of someone like my father and someone like myself, where you have the type A aspects of the quote unquote personality, if we're going to get clinical, and then the type B and type C. You're introspective, you're reflective, you know the value in the metaphysical and the intuitional, but you're also active in the world while not being of it, right? It's like we have what I seem to see as a constant replication of these two archetypal forms of dysfunction. If you take me and my father, the way that it was at one point, it's like the opposite. Two sides of the dysfunction I see everywhere. You got type A worldly people who want to go in the world every day and get active and make money and get status and power and want to become something, you know, but they neglect the metaphysical realm, the intuition, the truth behind it all. And then you got folks who live only in the other world, in the metaphysical. You know, they want to overanalyze and think all day and play with the intuition and the feelings, but they never do and be and create. So they always have to live off the type A person. This is the interesting thing about this. You could argue this is what creates a civilization and makes it symbiotic. Is the hunter-gatherer shaman archetype, right? Type A, type B, type C personality, if we want to get Western clinical. It's like some of us get up every day, we run out into the world, we're hunting, we're gathering, you know, doing all the things in the ways of the world. And then you have the type, you know, B or type C, in a sense, personality who's in the hut on the edge of town. He doesn't want to go to work. He sees it as mechanistic. It's boring. It's unfulfilling. Right? He would rather go into the metaphysical world and take the plants and herbs and commune with something above and beyond. The problem is the solution is he's got to bring what he's learned on the edge of town back to the townspeople, and then we meet in the middle. You know, and on some level, yeah, the shaman's got to work. He's got to like grind up the herbs and the plants. He's got to make powders and remedies. He's got to write the books and the prescriptions, you know, maybe keep records. So it's like, you know, we have an ability to become more like each other. We also have ability to accept who and what we are and our validity and our value to the bigger picture and the whole. Go to Watson.
How do you define
Christos wants this.
My definition of success is across the board. If you're not ripped, if you're not rich, if you ain't rare, if you don't stand out, if you ain't across the board successful, it doesn't mean shit to me. If you got straight tits and you're in your Rolls Royce, you look like a fucking clown to me. I'm just laughing at your dumb fucking ass.
Okay.
But this is the whole fucking point. You have a weakness. Change it, motherfucker. How the fuck are you going to lead people if you don't realize your weakness is their way out? They're not going to listen to you. You're sitting there possessing shit that they don't want to have. So, I mean, this is what people say. Oh, it's not about the money. It's about family, Wes. It's about this, about that. Motherfucker, when you're making money, it's about the money. When it's family, it's about family. When you're at the gym, it's about muscle. Whatever you're doing, it's about that. There's no black and white life. It's the gray area. You have to be good at everything. That's the goal, to really excel in every area. And that's the worst thing about these motherfuckers. They try to give you relationship advice. You got a borderline Miami 2. That's like a fucking Mississippi 6. Don't give me relationship advice to my 10 when you got a 2, motherfucker. Shut up. But this is the whole thing. People don't think I'm going to put the measuring stick to their motherfucking face. They better just watch what they say around a motherfucker who's beating them in every area. You better have a bad bitch. You better be ripped. You better fucking be rolling some sick shit. That's what I like. I grew up hustling. There's be rims on my goddamn Phantom. Go out front. That ain't normal Phantom. That's a Mansory Phantom. I don't have the normal shit. F that. Chick's got upgrades. Done.
Well said, Wes. God damn, with the fire.
God damn. with the bullshit. This guy sounds like an absolute donor. He's saying that if you don't have a six-pack and a fast car, then you're a loser and less successful than him.
That just makes no fucking sense. I mean, it's just bullshit.
There's plenty.
All right. Well, this snafu, I think, sent me this get hit with copyright from this kid? He's gonna say I'm stealing his fucking content, or do I got to stop it every 20 seconds and talk about it? I mean, he's not. Is he? Am I off? Is he not? He's not completely wrong. I mean, if you meet people in life, right? Like we'll go back to the block when I was on heroin. You meet. It doesn't matter what venue they're in. You meet someone and you go, this person's in fairly good shape. They seem like they have discipline. They apply themselves and get results. They usually have more than a lot of other folks around them, and it's because they've worked to get it. While everyone else was on the stoop, whining and crying and complaining and hating on a motherfucker for what they've done and got. So
how long was he locked up?
I think he was in prison for about 10 years or more. And that's the thing, bro. Like we can, I'm not saying when we get into the whole 10 and 2 and all that with the women and if he's not talking about inside and out, if he's just talking about, a bad bitch, she's got to be physically attractive and desirable, and she's a horrible human being, I don't want to hear none of that. But again, typically behind every great man, as they say, is a good woman. So yeah, on some level, it's like if you look at someone, they're going to have their strengths and their weaknesses. If they refuse to acknowledge their weaknesses, they're never going to level up. How are you going to tell someone who did 10 years in prison, years in solitary, who's done nothing but have to take who and what they are and turn nothing into something, and then tell him, well, you don't have to have this and you shouldn't do that, and you just lukewarm. You don't understand what it's like. A guy like this who woke up at some point, wakes up every day and makes his whole life an example of serving something, right? And working towards something and becoming something, and that's, again, the Tao, doing, non-doing. What he's kind of saying there, in a way, could be looked at as Taoist. Now, the way he's phrasing it, it's unsavory. They're going to say he's acting like a pig. He's being egotistical and prideful. But the doing, non-doing, as I understand it, the Tao is you vanish into whatever you're doing as a deed. So you become an instrument of the universe. It means that when you show up for yourself and others, things get done and things happen and things manifest. So yeah, if like you wake up every day early and you work out to keep a certain body, and you apply yourself to your business and you have a valuable product or service, and you make money and you save it and reinvest it and you do well financially and you're financially free and independent, and you have an understanding of certain levels of values and principles and setting goals and hitting them and creating a person and a life that is respectable in all ways, that's the archetypal man. I don't see that as something negative necessarily. But again, how he presents that and then how it's going to be received and reacted to, that's a different conversation, because we see how that goes. But a lot of folks here in other places, soon as they hear something they don't like that might be true, that might help them level up, it gets them in their feelers, they're going to say, you're being mean, you're being egotistical. But really, how many of you motherfuckers out there don't walk around and make certain judgments or discernments every day? Like, you don't look at someone and say, this guy's a fat pig. He doesn't put enough discipline into creating himself and his body the way he needs to be. Look at this bitch out here looking like a hoe and acting sloppy and all the rest. You act like you don't walk around and on some level make judgments and discernments. So then I guess like that's there for some reason. And then we have to determine how much of that is like neuroses and dysfunction and how much of that is like an inner voice trying to teach all of us to become more and more like the archetypal man and woman in every way possible. And that's going to take work and discipline. And it's going to take going past what we want and don't want in our feelers versus doing what we know we need to do. And stop making excuses and calling people mean for just telling the fucking truth. I mean, there's a fine line here.
Kind of like the kicker for
men out there.
Say again.
I was thinking same thing for the kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, how they're coming out on him, opinionated, coming after him, but he's just talking truth, his own truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, again, there's a fine line between the worldly ego and what I guess you could call the super ego, which is the aspect of all of us that teaches us or shows us or, animates us to move forward in life, to seek new experiences, right? To rise to certain occasions and meet tests and challenges and overcome in a sense. Is that not the backstory of each individual person in humanity?
Yeah.
Are we going to like ignore that because we don't like how it feels a lot of times, or we're not up to the task or the challenge or the occasion? I think that that's kind of foolish and naive.
That don't have those things
see
and are
where it
more high
goes.
value and
I'm sure there's
successful
gonna
than
be
this
more
Muppet.
here.
And I will say to some extent there's some things I agree with. I've said before that I think men should try and be physically and mentally strong and to also have enough money to be financially stable. But I don't think success is all about money and materialism, because without a family and real people around you, what's the point?
My definition of success is having a family, having children, and being part of the apparatus of the world. And true wealth is a rejection of materialism. As Christ said himself, what good does it benefit a man to gain the entire world at the cost of his soul? It's okay to have materialism. It's not against Christian ethics to become rich, become wealthy. But I just think it's all beside the point, ultimately. You're trying to go for a single thing, and it's to achieve something greater
Do you have
than
money?
the person.
Does he have money?
No.
Do you have money?
No, I don't
How
have.
much
I
money
don't
do you
have.
have?
I don't
Does he
have
have
money. But here's the thing. Why is money valuable?
How much? Do you have money?
What is money valuable for?
I'm just asking. Do you have money?
I just said no. I'm broke. I'm a nobody.
No, but really, you are?
Yeah.
Is he really broke?
Yeah.
I just want to know. I have to know.
No, I'm not. I'm not one of these rich guys. I don't have a Bugatti. I don't have a Lambo.
I just really have to know. Like, how much money you got?
Probably $5 in my pocket. Not much more.
See, can anyone answer for the guy?
Why do they think I'm kidding? I have a family. I take care of an entire family. That takes a lot of money.
He's doing all right.
Okay.
Now, me personally, I do think money's valuable because I didn't grow up with a lot of it, and I've understood that it gives you freedom and it allows you to take care of people that you love, which is a great thing. However, I don't think money.
All right, do we not just want to hear the interaction? Like, and by we, I mean you guys. Like, are you looking to hear this guy comment every 5 seconds?
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, Paul, I had to search through a couple different videos to find one where it wasn't someone constantly commenting. Yeah, this was the first guy I came across, and it was
Wes Watson ruined Fresh and Fit, apparently. Ruined it. He gave them content one way or the other. They're going to be talking about it everywhere for the next 2 months, but he ruined it.
I was kind of surprised the amount of people and channels in certain communities that were even talking about it. But yeah, there was some type of social dynamics to derive from it nonetheless.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to just get the fucking... We're going to have 18,000 commenters on Wes Watson's life and how he needs to live. We're not going to be able to get the fucking original clip here.
Yeah, he basically just says he's going to smack the guy because, he was just getting so triggered and, yeah, it was retarded. But it goes along with what we were beginning to see over time.
What got him triggered, though?
The other guy was just talking about, the material things don't matter as much as someone like Wes Watson would make it out to be. And it's more about the spiritual principles. And he was talking about family and God and that type of currency, per se, the real currency over like fiat or attention and whatnot. Wes Watson was just getting mad just for pushback. It really wasn't anything to get mad about. It was just some type of immaturity on his part.
He must have heard some truth there, or else it wouldn't have got him pissed off.
Right. No doubt. Yeah, my bad, Paul. I would have pulled up a video that didn't have some comments.
I mean, pull up the original interaction without the commentary every 5 seconds. I mean, I did see it, I believe, the original clip at some point. I may have just watched that one. I forget. I don't remember that guy being in there. But he did act out a bit. He brought it to a physicality point, It's just that I try to find the middle ground in what's being presented or what's being talked about. I try not to go all the way one way or the other as much as possible. I see value in what he's seeing and presenting. And again, I had my own experience with him to kind of confirm what it is these guys are circling the drain on, which is he's highly money motivated and driven for worldly success. And that may cloud his vision or his presentment at times.
Is this the same guy that has, I swear, I've never heard of the guy till today, but I think I saw him have an ad out talking about, do you want to get fit? If you want to get fit, I guarantee you'll get fit. Give me 30 days. my one requirement is that you make over $150,000 a year before retaining my services. Is this that guy? Sounds
Yeah, it
like
might be him. Yeah, I mean, listen, bro. I got to be real and call it as it is. Doing these panels and coming from a world where a lot of the time people sat around and didn't do shit, and we're always complaining about what the fuck they didn't have and living off other people. Seeing the other side of things and knowing that, like, if you put yourself to things and you try to create a successful aspect of beingness and bring that to the world, that value and success and network can show up, right? So I've gotten more of a peek on the other side of why folks like this become like that, right? Like, even though I didn't have a favorable interaction with him, I'm not going to go to hating on him, because the other side of me goes, I've seen hundreds and thousands of interactions on here and in life when people are just comfortable sitting around bullshitting, accepting less for themselves and each other, being poor and broke and making excuses when they know they're lazy and procrastinating on top of it. It's one thing if you're really working and trying things and doing all you can and getting out the box and all the rest of it, and you just can't come up on something. I guess I've come to believe I've gone to more of the Republitard side of things, right? It seems to me from being on both sides of things that it doesn't go that way, right? Like, if you actually wake up every day and put yourself to something and create a being you can give away to the world and do the next right thing, and you bring it all together, that success is going to happen. You've become the success. It's going to show up in your life.
No, I agree with you 100% on that. 100%.
Yeah, I can see aspects of him where he's like, dude, I'm tired of dealing with the inauthentic corporate males who want to tell me all about spiritualism while they're just submissive bitches. You know, like, at the end of the day, I get that Watson's a little too money motivated. He proved that to me directly. The other side of things is, if we have to drop this whole society tomorrow, who am I going to take to quote unquote battle with me? Who am I going to take to stand on something with me? A guy who's done it over and over again and had to do solitary confinement and really look at himself and generate a being himself to exist in this life, right? Somebody who really knows survival and even thriving on certain levels? Or am I going to take the guy who's going to tell me about being nice and kind and polite, and Wes is too egotistical and prideful? I don't know. I'd have to look at that. I guess there's two sides to every coin, right?
I think the man that's protecting his family is going to stand taller than the man that's protecting his money.
I just shared the original without the commentary. I believe it's without any commentary. I put it in the chat.
Yeah, what channel is it? Is
right
it
here
King Kid Content King? Like 7 minutes?
Well, this is why it would be good. It's probably not going to happen, but I'm going to leave it open.
19 minutes.
Yeah, this is why we'd be good for Wes Watson to come here now. Because then I can ask him, hey, Wes, how do you see money? Right? What we call money, which is non-money, for coupons for value. How do you see it? Right? Like, is this like your value? Is this your resource? Or do you see yourself as your truest value and your internal space and your personal choice and your value system? And these coupons are an extension of that, a representation of that. Right? Because in his mind, he may just say, I don't want to work with a motherfucker who can't produce value and worth in themselves and have it by extension in life. They're going to waste my time and their time. You know, does that hurt my ego? Maybe. Yeah. Can I see on some level maybe what he's saying? Potentially. Does it then necessarily mean that everybody who has over a certain amount of money embodies some principle where they're like, you know, worthy and honorable and presentable and have true value systems and principles objectively? Obviously not. So yeah, I mean, like most things, I try to take a middle ground on it, you know, and I think that a lot of these venues bring out the extremism for the conversation and the content. It almost needs to happen.
He made his money as a trainer? Hello?
I don't know
multiple things.
Specifics.
I mean, regardless of Wes, it's not an either or argument. This is like a false premise.
Of course.
It's not about it being money or family. It's both. What are we, retarded? Like, we have to pick a fucking one thing? It's both. Why are we not able to do both? And it's both. It's the same thing anyway.
Yeah, holistic you know, synergizing the things together and the holistic approach. Yeah, completely. And having that discernment to be able to shift through that gray area and do that fine tuning of these quote unquote polarities that we encounter throughout life. Hence why Paul brings up the paradoxical thread, which seems to be overarching or through everything we experience.
So if you're on a ship and it's sinking and your entire wealth's in a sack and your child is, you know, 20 feet
it's not
in
even
one
a
direction,
question, John. Now you're doing an either or simulation.
well,
Obviously,
that's the way you presented it.
what are you
That's why I'm
talking?
asking.
No,
You said they're both worth protecting. Which one would you go after?
That's what you're doing. Slave mind thinking. Only loser failures pick only or thinking. Slaves think they're presented with two options, so they have to pick or.
Well, there would be two options if you were on a sinking boat. Those would be your two options.
That's true. I'm obviously picking my son.
Obviously. Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that one.
And then we're swimming to land, and then we're gonna regenerate the value again.
If you could
together.
do that, yeah. I'm saying
right?
that's a great answer.
It's obviously there's a hierarchy. I'm not saying they're equal. Obviously, money is a representation of value, and it's a way lower form of value than us as beings. But like if we're doing the thing where, oh, our sons and daughters are more valuable, okay, what legacy are you leaving them? What understanding are you giving them? What example are you giving them? I see all these people around me. They have money. They don't, and then they tell their kids to go to study, to go to the slave school and study when they're entrepreneurs. It's fucking insane. They're not even teaching them how they got.
It's like they just send them back to whatever they're programmed with going back to, even though they finally did something different and found a way out.
Dude,
they're like, well, we went entrepreneurial and started our own business and actually have a product or service and co-create privately with a network. But we're going to send you back to where they sent us, that we had to learn our way out of to actually be Americans. That's all they know. They don't even know how to teach them what it is they've learned the hard way.
Right, because they still have a deep insecurity that is it's just like your father, just like my father, connected to that thing where, oh, I got to slave away for this paper, and then I got to clutch to it, right? So you should do the same thing, son. Slave away, get some of this paper, and then clutch to it and hide it away into a fucking corporate maritime bank account.
Yeah, this is where I go. You may need a little bit more ego and narcissism in this realm,
right,
to the point where like the parents start parenting the children again, rather than trying to be their friends and going like, well, we don't really know anything. Maybe this isn't right for you. We're going to send you to the indoctrination camp to do what we decided not to do for ourselves. Like, what does the child know? You're leaving the decision to the child and its discernment and the state. And it's like, did you not learn anything? Do you not have any wisdom to pass down? It's fine that they're going to rebuke it and go their own way. All children do. Why are you acting like you didn't have your own firsthand experience and have your own wisdom and know right from wrong? That's that self-doubt. Like you said, my father still doesn't know whether he's right or wrong in life. He'll pretend he does, but in his life, he can't flesh it out and teach it and show it and like give you the cause and effect and then go, this is what's going to happen if you do this. This is what's going to happen if you do this. You know, they live their whole life not quite sure whether they're doing right or wrong completely.
And how are these kids going to maintain that value at least at the same level or grow it? They're not. They have no concept. They don't know how to grow a business or even sustain one or even generate.
They know how to vote and pay slave tax. They don't want to get licensed for their property to move it around. That they know.
I mean, it's bizarre.
They know how to go to the state farm like an animal and get insurance.
Yeah.
You're taught everything you need to be good slaves. That's all you're taught.
Right. God forbid we just one of these generations break the complete cycle and go, hey, I learned some things. Here's what's going on. Do with that what you will. I'll be waiting.
Yeah, it would be nice.
I swear, when I was growing up, I always thought the adults one day were going to reveal some secret thing to me that they weren't telling me. And then I finally reconciled one day. I go, they don't have it, do they? These sons of bitches. I go, they act like they've got it together. And I'm waiting for the day they're going to take me in a room and go, you finally reached the age where we can reveal the trick to life and this game and what everyone's doing, and it never happened. And that's when I realized they don't know what they're doing, when, why, and how. They're pretending they do. And their best efforts of help only lead to it getting worse over time.
Exactly.
It's
Dude,
fascinating.
I'm watching my son grow up every day, and I'm just like, all these parents, loser, failure, slave, these people are complaining for no reason. It's not that hard. Just like give him food, love, and for me, father him, right? Like, holy shit, these people make it so complicated. Like, these people think that these babies come out and they're just dumb. They don't know nothing. You got to teach them everything. Constant like school, constant like do this, don't do that. We don't have to do anything. He just constantly exploring, constantly challenging himself, constantly
You don't have
fearless.
to bring him to the Pope to get kissed outside the Pope mobile.
Yeah, right.
you gotta bring your baby to let the Pope kiss him. They said they brought the baby to let the Pope kiss him. I shouldn't laugh because I'm laughing to I guess as a coping mechanism. They go that we bring our babies to get kissed by these people, and then sores show up on the baby.
Ew.
Right? They give the baby herpes, letting the Pope kiss on them because they've been convinced there's some godliness in that Pope.
Oh, goodness.
You could just get that baby in the hands of that Pope. Something good's gonna turn out of this horrible life.
Yeah,
that's a testimony to how they don't know whether they're right or wrong ever. Truly.
And the kids are they come out so weak, and they need multiple medications in the first fucking year, 25 on the schedule. And they need cow milk. They need a liter of fucking cow milk, which is supposed to be for a 2,000 kilogram fucking cow. And they're dumb, so you got to teach them a bunch of shit. You know why all this happens? Because the fathers and mothers, they hate themselves, and the kids just literally copy paste. My son just literally copy paste everything I do. I don't have to teach him anything. So I'm like, okay, this is great. I don't have to teach you shit. It's incredible. So I'm like, okay, this is easy. I understand why all the
groundbreaking. Wow, we're breaking ground here. You're telling me children just do what you do as a parent? They don't actually listen to what you're saying. They just do whatever you do, 100%. Directly or indirectly.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
It's easy. They don't have to do anything. I don't have to teach him shit. He just does it. Oh my God, the kids are so expensive. It's so hard. Oh, yeah, stop putting poison in them. Just give them the milk and hug them and just let them explore. You fuck slave. And don't send them off to retards to teach them that don't know shit. It's just like so basic.
Does anyone ever really like kind of get into, maybe I'm going full Talcott, like getting into feelers now. This is feelers talk with Paulie and Timmy. Does anyone ever really kind of realize what you're doing when you kind of bring your child at a young age and just leave him with strange people? I mean, maybe I was hypersensitive, but like again, I'm a paranoid person, I guess, is what I've learned about me from day one. I'd had to be to figure out this slavery. So it all works like toward a bigger goal. But like, I was the kid who always thought that they're bringing me here to leave me here because they don't want me. Like, maybe that's what this kindergarten really is this is just a way for them to get rid of me for a while. And it turns out, I think I was onto something again. I wasn't as paranoid as maybe they want me to believe. It wasn't really about the curriculum and teaching anything. It was 8 hours away from little Paulie boy who was going to ask questions and require accountability and responsibility. I get it. But it probably fucks up the individual when you just take them at a young age and just leave them with other people and go, okay, they're like your authority now. They're like your mommy and daddy from a second home. They're going to teach you stuff. I'm like, what? I'm like, my mother won't interact with me, doesn't love me. She's drinking wine all day. And now you're leaving me with these people?
Wait. And then before
you guys are evil. This is an evil place.
Before that, it's even time to go to school. You forget the thing where the Western parents don't even sleep with their own kids, like in the same bed. They go put them in a different room and let them cry themselves to sleep every fucking night. This is like common practice. Incredible. This is incredible information. Basic shit. Your kid's crying, hug them. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think that there's an animal instinct and intuition that we avoid for this idea of becoming cultured and sophisticated and functional. as determined by a completely dysfunctional culture, society, and world. And I guess there's a fine line to everything, right? I'm sure you don't want Timmy Jr. sleeping in your bed at 21 like Brian O'Shea. No. He's 48 and he still sleeps in his parents' bed. You got to move on at some point.
No, I know. Kids won.
Kids won. All right, no pain, no gain, Timmy. Put him on the hill. I say we go the other way, like history. We're at the time in history now where we observe inauthentic corporate beta bitch cowards everywhere. So now what's the obvious solution, Timmy? Put that damn child on a hill for the next 3 weeks and don't pay it any mind. We're going to build a Spartan warrior here.
No, when he's a couple years old, drop him off at a Shaolin temple somewhere.
We need strong men.
Yeah, teach him everything he needs to know properly and let him come back to the world.
Yeah, he's got 12 years left, and then he's a man. Like, I'm not waiting till like society says 18. I'm gonna make him a man till 13. That's it. He's gonna be a man.
Did you skin his foreskin off like a carrot?
Dude, absolutely not. No.
All right.
Dude, I have a whole list.
Can I offer you a pamphlet, a quadfold? On the benefits, and I'm telling you, it's hygienic.
Well, I don't know because some small hat. Well, let's be clear. My father,
easy, Timmy.
My father contracted with some small hat to allow him to take 20% of my little tiny peen back in the day. So I don't know what it is. It's like to
as if you had 20% extra to give up, right?
Yeah, right.
You
like,
need all you
come
can
on.
get at that point.
Like, give me a fucking break over here, right? I'm not complaining, right? But so a small-hatted weird man, stole 20% of a cock that I didn't have to give. I was sent to a concentration camp, basically for 16 years.
What are they doing? What? Well, let's go all the way here. There's obviously some kind of secret society. Follow me here. Of underground small-hatted folks who are trading foreskins in some kind of black market economy. What are they doing with all these foreskins? Imagine it. They have like 5 billion foreskins at this point. They have more foreskins than US dollars.
Voodoo optics.
Probably in the lotion.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're getting a bit absurd here, but I think in the absurdist comedy and coping mechanism is a revelation that we are insane as a human race.
You think?
Because somewhere along the line, we got the idea that you should fillet a baby's genitals like a carrot because someone maybe said it's more hygienic. We don't really know.
Dude, I made a list.
I made a list? Oh, no.
I made a lot of gripes. I'm typing into my notes, concentration camp. Let me see, what is, oh, wait, here's the list. Parents allowed, supported all this. C-section baby, multiple medications, chop 20% of my dick off. Mom
hold on. You got to let me intro this. Like, David, this is the Tonight Show, the top 10 list. Timmy's top 10 list of things he doesn't like about slavery and genocide. Go ahead, Tim. Number 10.
No, number 10, C-section. Didn't let me just come out of the naval passage. Number 2, a lot of medications. Injections of horror.
Right, injections.
Yeah. Number 3, chopping 20% of the old cucumber there. Number 4, no mother's milk, just 100% synthetic bullshit formula, corporate milk. You got to get your corporate consumption in there right away. Number 5, everyone's favorite, the old concentration camp for 12 years to attempt to brainwash. Didn't work out so well. Number 6, sold me into paper slavery to the United States Inc. satanic slave system via you-know-what, social security card, birth certificate, all that good stuff. Who else knows what else? See fucking postage stamps and the birth certificate. Who the fuck else really knows what's going on with that?
Trading in the souls of men in ancient art. Go ahead, Timmy. How many have we got left?
What number? 1, it's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. There's so many here. Number 4, Father didn't teach me how to be a man. He didn't teach me one motherfucking thing. I had to learn how to not be a man by watching him. Number 3, parents didn't fucking love each other. Never saw a kiss. Horrible example of a relationship. Number 2, parents created no strong community or at least direct family unit or extended family unit. Both had 0 friends. And number one.
And number one on the top 10 list of things that
Number
still
one.
irk Timmy to this day, that is slave-like genocide and broken home lifestyle. Go ahead, Timmy.
Number one has got to be just a lifetime of black sheep-itis and just a constant degradation and rejection and oppression.
Right. The alienation, the humiliation, the degradation, the gaslighting, the projection, the rejection, all to avoid accountability, responsibility. Amazing list.
Hey, wasn't it Sandra Bullock that talked about the wonders of penis facials, about her green baby foreskin?
Yeah.
So, it does end up in the lotion.
Yeah, number one on another list for NDP was watching the nightly news. You know how many times you come home and watch your bubble boomer? You know that bubble boomer family member of yours that just has to consume that news, find out what's going on in their world that they live in, that they hallucinate collectively together while being with no one and having no friends, as Timmy points out. Right. That's it. That was a popular other list addition.
It's amazing how that list pretty much described my life.
Right.
Except for
we do
the
here.
12 years. I dropped out my first year of high school.
Yeah, mine was pretty similar as well.
That's what we're doing here, people. Through the top 10 list, it gets revealed what we're actually doing here.
It's like Family Feud.
We surveyed 100 slaves. Top 10 answers on the board, Timmy. That's how we should have ran this one. I've been slacking lately. Yeah. That's why, I haven't been getting, too much validation from the people. And that's why. Because I've been slacking. I used to have effects and pictures and we would do the whole bit, play it out. And now I'm just like, I'm mailing it in. All right. Family Feud one time. Unslave Feud. Unslave. All right, everybody, we're back. We got Timmy here. We got John. We got another guy from a broken home full of genocide and slavery. We surveyed 100 U.S. citizen slaves. Top 10 answers on the board. What was your slave like, genocide like, household like? Go ahead and tell us. Timmy, John, who are we going to? Who's going to play first? Which dysfunctional family member is going to step up and give the first answer to play for their family?
Bubble Boomer John, you go.
Yeah, good answer. Good answer.
Just parents that fought constantly, didn't love each other, didn't show love towards the children.
Yeah. That's called an Italian household. I just want to be clear.
I thought Italians were really close. Come on.
Well, they're very romantic people. And in order to romanticize, you got to fight a lot. That's how you create a bond in trauma. Everyone knows it.
Great answer.
Why did it get so uncomfortable and silent? Dysfunctional family feud.
Everybody realizes, oh my God, that was my life.
Oh my God. The audience is horrified along with panel members. They just realized this is their life. That's where we transition, right, Timmy? This is your life.
I was away from home as much as possible as a kid. I didn't like it at home.
You got to change up the energy. It's too grim right now.
Yeah. This is your life, John. Slavery and genocide. Look at that oppression, repression, and depression in human form. Walking right down the stairs. Ah, yes. Feels like home.
After my first my Holy Communion, I remember my parents had a party for me, and I know I got gifts of money. I put the money in this old lighter case. It was a Zippo lighter case for my father's lighter or something, and I put it on the top shelf in the cupboard. I went back like 3-4 days later, looked for the money. It was gone. I asked my parents says, well, we had to pay for the party. I said,
right. Parents stealing back gifts in order to pay for the party they had no business throwing to begin with. And Number 9 on the dysfunctional family feud list. That was John's first sexual experience with who? The Catholic priest. So I just want to remind everyone, it was a holy rape. Okay?
Ding.
There's absolution there.
Number 2 on the board.
get an
Great
alien?
answer.
Good answer. Holy rape. All right, we got to pack it in here. We're 30 minutes over. It's degenerating here as always. Who could have thought, huh?
Yeah, I've got some real stuff to do.
Yeah, let's get on with the rest of our day, whatever that looks like. Get something done, people. Okay, please. All right. Don't spend the rest of your day online playing with these other people. Listen to DeCastro, call and collect. Don't answer the collect calls from DeCastro. He's got self-work to do in there. Just donate to the activism fund for the attorney, if anything. Final words, gentlemen. I use that word loosely, of course.
I'll go. Folks, try to in the top 10 there. Try to not do some of them for your progeny and yourself, please. All right, thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah.
Learn from the dysfunctional family feud top 10 list. There's a lot of good, valuable material there.
Man, unfortunately, I made some of those mistakes with mine. I didn't learn quick enough. But best to all. Have a great night, people.
Thank you, John. Appreciate you being here. Come back more often, man. We like you here.
Okay, thank you. Have a great night.
All right, we'll see you later.
Gentlemen, I enjoyed the conversation today, man. Had a lot of fun. You guys have a good one.
Thank you, sir. Tim?
Hey, yeah, this was good to, like I said before, I got chores, but it was good listening in. There were opportunities I wanted to come and talk, but it was on my back. So, but anyway, yeah, I agree. Top 10, definitely try to stay away from that. I feel fortunate enough to have met my destiny early, and so I avoided a lot of that. My girls are awesome and not indoctrinated and living free on the land with me and my wife, and it's awesome. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Tim. We appreciate you, and that sounds good. We don't necessarily take, I'm doing the royal way, I don't take people's anecdotal accounts of their life and their family. I'm sure you understand why. A lot of folks are skewed and dysfunctional and delusional, it would seem. But I want to believe, and I have faith that you are either now or becoming a living embodiment of certain, values and principles and ways of living that will transfer onto whatever humans that you are responsible and accountable for and with. So, I think that's what it's all about at the end of the day, right? Not to be kind of highbrow or cliche, but
no, you're exactly right. Yeah. And if you want it, if you need it, it will come. And you pointed that out through today's conversation, and that if you believe in nature, really, which is what it is, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, this is what we're here for. And if you need it, it will come.
It's like AANA. It works if you work it. All right, Tim, I'm throwing you out.
All right,
I'm going to move on here. Appreciate you. Come back. P.I.M.P Power, final words, please, sir.
Final words. Pay for your health now or pay for your medical bills later. Much love, y'all. Peace and love.
Thank you, Sean. All right, Tim, I'm going to remove you from the back. P.I.M.P Power, same deal. We'll see you later. All right, folks, another one in the books. Resoundingly successful broadcast. We didn't quite get to everything. We oftentimes don't. There's always more to do. Nothing is left undone. And there's always tomorrow, God willing, right? Allah willing. So, if I don't die in my sleep, which I'm sure I won't be lucky enough, right? As the gambler says, the best thing you can hope for is to die in your sleep. probably going to be here, barring some act of God or the state, which, as we know more and more each day for the average citizen slave, is becoming one and the same. The state of is their God, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I guess, if it's meant to be that way. All right. Say goodnight to the bad guy. I'm out of here. Miles from out west. Back tomorrow, as every day, 7 days a week, till I decide different. 12 to 3 MDT. God of all media. Out.
Me, I always tell the truth, even when I lie. So say good night to the bad guy. Come on. Last time you're gonna see a bad guy like this again.
The great reset's happening. So when you get all your pretty and nice shit taken away and your bullshit job that leads to nowhere, and you're forced back on the land and have to be self-sustainable and co-creative and work with what is, this talk about your feelings and your ego is going to go right out the window, because the God and the elements and nature are going to present what needs to happen next. 9 out of 10 times. That's the difference between me and you. I got it in me, not on me, just like you do. I'm trying to work it out, bring the subconscious to the conscious and figure out who and what I am. Am I good or evil? Am I real and true? Am I a narcissistic, egotistical deceiver? That's the difference. I'm actually authentically trying to work it out while you lie to everyone and project your negative aspects of self onto me, and I don't appreciate it. And the universe don't appreciate it either. And the students of life in this audience don't appreciate it either. This isn't about love and money. This isn't about chasing bags or anything else in and of the world. This is about the philosophy, right? The love of knowledge, the love of wisdom, the love of understanding of self and applying it to actualize and realize and get better results for yourself and everyone else. I thought that's what we were doing here. So let's get the game back in its proper perspective. The motherfucker doing this shit shouldn't have to talk about it because you folks want to lie on it. It's embarrassing to me. I didn't come on here with the intention or the understanding that this is supposed to be for business or a hobby. That's why I show up the way I do 500 days straight. That's why I have a care in my heart with passion. That's why I do what's true and what's right and see through you motherfuckers and get amazing results for me. We can't allow the generalized experience of life and everything it has to offer, good, bad, and indifferent, to hold us back or keep us paralyzed or keep us fearful or self-doubting or unloving and uncaring of ourselves. How do I know? Because I'm looking to me. That's all this is. I can see further than the rest. I can interpret beyond what's told and shown, and I can amalgamate and communicate the cause and effect and the root of the state of consciousness and awareness. That is a astounding testimony to the work that I've done on myself in this world and in this life, and the practices I've walked with other people. The question and answer, the fellowship, the co-creational endeavors, and the conversation that leads to understanding. But again, we can't appeal to false emotions and false authority. That is the cornerstone of cognitive dissonance. You can't say that I'm respectable, righteous, honorable, presentable, and then I have balls and then turn around and hate me or catch feelings over me, be in that and live in that when you don't like it or when it doesn't turn out as favorably for you as you would have hoped or expected, right? That's the theme of a true common bond that goes long term versus the shallow, materialistic, worldly connections that come and go. It is what it is. Some people are down forever. Some people are down for the ride until they got to get off, right? And some people ain't down at all. So through the life experiences, firsthand experiences, through the tests and challenges, you learn more and more who and what is meant for you and who or what is probably not going to be able to sustain the ride. And that's okay.
God of all media.